Chapter 1853, Returning to White River City. Chapter 1853, Returning to White River City. Looking at the flame core in Shifeng's hand, Kola and the others fell silent, incredulity flashing in their eyes. Guild leader, are you for real? They had all witnessed and experienced the Flame Demon King's might. Only Kola had been able to stand against the boss for any length of time. The rest of the team had been forced to flee to buy their guild leader the time he needed. While they considered the possibility of Shifeng fighting such a boss, they knew that it would only be a matter of time before he died as well. As for Shifeng slaying the Flame Demon King, that was simply impossible. However, the flame core before them was proof of the swordsman's claim. Moreover, the raging inferno that had consumed the valley was gone, not even a spark remained. For a time, they were utterly baffled. I have killed the Flame Demon King, but only its weakened version, Shifeng explained, smiling. With the explanation, the team could, more or less, accept the fact that Shifeng had killed the boss. Otherwise, they would have suspected Shifeng of abusing some bug in the game. Right, Kola, how far are you from level 58 right now? Shifeng asked as he turned to the MT. Level 58. After taking a look at his experience bar, Kola said, after my recent death, I'm 73% away from level 58. What about you, Summer? Shifeng asked as he turned to alluring Summer, who wore an exquisite set of light blue robes. How far are you from level 59? I'm down to 6% of level 58. I'll need quite a few days before I reach level 59, alluring Summer said. Guild leader, what's going on? Aqua Rose asked, giving Shifeng a strange look. She didn't understand why he suddenly asked about those two's levels. It's nothing. You two are a little low-leveled right now. Once we return, stop raiding dungeons and come level with me. Violet, you'll join us as well, Shifeng said after giving the matter some thought. Now that he had the Scorching Wind set and Sins of Thunderfire set, it would be a waste to let them collect dust. Although the level 70 equipment requirement was quite high, it wasn't a problem without its solutions. Both Kola and Alluring Summer had equipment that reduced items' level requirements, though only by 5 levels. However, he had requirement gemstones, which could reduce the level requirements by another 5 levels. Once they equipped the requirement gemstones, Kola and Alluring Summer could wear items that were 10 levels higher than them. Once they donned the set equipment, it would increase the overall strength of the guild's main force by a significant margin. We're low-leveled. Alluring Summer blinked in astonishment at her own level. She already had the highest level in the team. Even in an empire, she'd be the undisputed #1 player on the empire's ranking list. However, the comment didn't dampen Alluring Summer's excitement in the least. After all, she was going to level up alongside Shifeng. Guild leader, we've rested already. Let's hurry and head back, Kola said impatiently after hearing Shifeng's intentions. Their teammates looked on with a little envy. When leveling up with Shifeng, not only would they rise in levels with astonishing speed, but they'd also improve their combat standards quickly. Following which, everyone used return scrolls to teleport back to White River City. Once they returned, Shifeng had Aqua Rose organize a team to mine the Sourcefire vein, only selecting trustworthy players. He then contacted Melancholic Smile, instructing her to select trustworthy advanced lifestyle players from the Candlelight trading firm for the Philosopher's Hand. These players would be required to sign an extremely strict contract, since containing the secret of the Philosopher's Hand was of the utmost importance. He could not afford for the public to discover its existence. He'd only be able to relax after Zero Wing could properly protect itself. Otherwise, Zero Wing would definitely follow in the Kingdom's Sword's footsteps. While Shifeng rode an advanced horse carriage towards the Adventurers Association to promote Zero Wing to a 4-star guild, Gentle Snow contacted him. Guild leader, big trouble. Gentle Snow said anxiously. Not long ago, there was a system announcement in the Orc Empire, stating that Blackwater had captured the Crimson Flame Fortress. The Crimson Flame Fortress? Isn't that a transit hub to the Orc capital city? They actually managed to capture it. Shifeng had already investigated the Orc Empire's various fortresses. Each fortress varied in its importance. The more important it was, the more orcs it would contain. The Crimson Flame Fortress was a crucial transit hub for the Orc Empire. Players heading for the Orc capital city or other kingdoms or empires through the Orc Empire would have to pass through this fortress. Because of this, the Crimson Flame Fortress was invaluable to the Orc Empire. According to player reports, over 700,000 orcs were stationed there, including 4 mythic orcs. One of these 4 mythic orcs even had a special bloodline, which made it far stronger than ordinary mythic monsters. In addition, the Crimson Flame Fortress was protected by powerful war weapons and defensive walls. Current players shouldn't be capable of raiding the Crimson Flame Fortress, even with Beast Emperor's help. We don't know how they managed to do it exactly, but based on the current reports, Blackwater has already dispatched a large number of players to garrison in the Crimson Flame Fortress. Blackwater has also officially announced the fortress's grand opening to the public on the Orc Empire's official forums. In addition, Blackwater has placed a bounty on every Zero-Wing member. Right now, players gain 1 point for killing a normal member, 5 points for elite members, and 50 points for core members. These points can then be traded for coins or weapons and equipment. In addition, depending on how many points a player has collected, they can get discounts for the Crimson Flame Fortress's teleportation arrays. Players will receive a 10% discount for 500 accumulated points, 20% if they accumulate 3,000 points, and 30% if they accumulate 10,000 points. Those with over 10,000 points will even enjoy the benefits of a Blackwater core member. Shortly after this forum post was uploaded, a large number of players swarmed towards the Crimson Flame Fortress. The Orc Empire is in chaos. I doubt it will be long before this news reaches players in the neighboring kingdoms as well. Even more players will join this madness. I've also heard that a large number of dark players have set their sights on our members. As he listened to Gentle Snow's report, Shifeng's expression darkened. They're being so ruthless. Shifeng also could not help his surprise at Blackwater's generosity. To secure a share of the pie known as God's Domain, the Blackwater Corporation had invested heavily into the Blackwater Guild. That investment enabled the guild to offer its members even greater benefits than other superpowers. As a result, many expert players had sought to join the guild, especially when they had learned of its core member benefits. The benefits were so generous that even large guilds' upper echelons envied Blackwater's core members. However, becoming a core member in Blackwater wasn't easy. It wasn't enough to be an expert player. One also needed a list of noteworthy achievements. Moreover, Blackwater limited the number of core members the guild could have at a single time. With how many expert players Blackwater had, it was easy to imagine how difficult it was to become a core member. Even so, a vast number of players did everything they could to achieve that status. Now that Blackwater offered those same benefits for kill points, how could players ignore the temptation? Moreover, by doing so, Blackwater could scout for true peak experts. Even if Blackwater couldn't convince these peak experts to bear the responsibility of a core member, the guild could persuade these experts to become allies. Guild leader, should we limit our guild members' activity within the Orc Empire? Gentle Snow suggested. No. Shifeng shook his head. We're already limited to a small area. If we reduce that further, our members in Silverwing Town won't be able to level up. Since Blackwater has already declared war against us, then we'll prepare for war as well. Post an announcement on the Orc Empire's forums, stating that Zero-Wing will offer the same point system as Blackwater. But Blackwater has too many advantages over us. Even if we establish a similar system, I'm afraid that very few people will side with us, Gentle Snow said worriedly. Relax. I have a surprise for Blackwater, Shifeng said, smiling. Shifeng disconnected the call as the carriage arrived before the Adventurers Association. After alighting from the carriage, he walked into the building, brimming with confidence. Chapter 1854, Promotion to a 4-star Guild. Chapter 1854, Promotion to a 4-star Guild. Dark Knight Empire, Light Shadow City, Dark Souls main headquarters. Zero-Wing is quite interesting. I don't know if this guild is brave or overestimates itself. It's provoked so many powers that nobody usually dares to. Not only has Lu Xingluo targeted Zero-Wing now, But Blackwater also wants to exterminate the guild, Tiger Breaker said, smiling as he read the report he had just received regarding Blackwater's official declaration of war against Zero Wing. This latest move from Blackwater was particularly vicious. Not only could Blackwater's bounty destroy Zero Wing's members regardless of rank, but the guild would also be able to lure a large number of players to the Crimson Flame Fortress, earning considerable profits. In addition, it would have its pick of peak experts, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Although Zero Wing's foundation was sturdy, Blackwater was on an entirely different level. It wouldn't be long before Zero Wing's economy crumbled. Alliance Master, should we proceed with our original plan? Pathless, the Tier 2 elementalist, quietly asked from beside Tiger Breaker. Of course. We had only accepted Starlink's commission, but now that Blackwater has joined the fray, not only are we going to proceed with our plan, but we'll also increase the number of participating members, Tiger Breaker said, snorting. We suffered quite a loss at Zero Wing's hands. It's time for Zero Wing to pay back that debt tenfold. Notify every adventurer team and tell them to send their experts to the Or Empire. I'll take command of the operation personally. We'll teach Zero Wing to fear Dark Soul. Understood. Pathless nodded slightly, a hint of excitement flashing in his eyes. Since Dark Soul had grown famous, his and Tiger Breaker's adventurer team, the strongest in the Alliance, had rarely taken action. Normally, they left the toughest commissions to the Dark Hunters and Shadowclaw adventurer teams. White River City, Adventurers Association. As soon as Shafong entered the building, he noticed players crowding the lobby, chatting about Blackwater and its Crimson Flame Fortress. Blackwater is amazing. It actually captured the Crimson Flame Fortress so quickly. Exploring the Or Empire will be much easier now. I've also heard that the Crimson Flame Fortress can teleport players to any nearby locations like Zero Wing City. We'll be able to avoid the Or's inspection points in the Empire's inner region and reach its core area. That's right. I've heard that the Empire's core area is basically a treasure trove. It has a lot of rare ores and herbs, and the monsters in that area provide far more EXP than in the inner region. If we can get into the Or capital city, we'll have an even greater time. I've heard that the monsters in the regional dungeon have a chance of dropping magic crystals. I've heard that as well. The Or capital city is an extremely rare Azura mode regional dungeon. Moreover, it's a level 50 to level 100 super large-scale regional dungeon. Including the fact that it's in a neutral map, it'll offer far better loot than any regional dungeon available right now. Zero Wing is in trouble this time. Now that Blackwater has made such a vicious move, I'm afraid Zero Wing will struggle to survive in the Or Empire. I've heard that quite a few WH-known and top adventurer teams were doing everything they could to garrison in Silverwing Town, but those that succeeded probably regret their decisions now. When the players in the lobby spoke about the Crimson Flame Fortress, their eyes glowed with excitement and anticipation. When they spoke about Zero Wing, their tone carried disappointment and pity. At this point, nobody had an optimistic view of Zero Wing's chances against Blackwater. After all, the difference between both sides was simply massive. Previously, Zero Wing had held its ground thanks to Silverwing Town, but now that Blackwater had secured the Crimson Flame Fortress, Zero Wing had lost the advantage Silverwing Town granted. News sure spreads quickly. Shafong revealed a bitter smile when he overheard the conversations around him. It seems Blackwater had prepared to advertise this matter, waiting for the right moment. Blackwater's successful capture of the Crimson Flame Fortress had only been announced recently, yet White River City's public was already talking about it. No matter how he thought about it, this shouldn't be possible. While it wasn't unusual that the various major powers' upper echelons had learned of the situation very quickly, they had intelligence members everywhere, but the same couldn't be said for ordinary players. Most ordinary players only learned about other countries' news through other players. Normally, it took a few hours or even days before White River City's populace would learn of something happening in the Or Empire. Yet, as soon as he had received news about the Crimson Flame Fortress from Gentle Snow, the ordinary players in the Adventurers Association were already talking about it. The information had spread too quickly. The only explanation was that Blackwater had sent some of its members to White River City to talk about the news, secretly spreading the word. However, Shifeng did not particularly mind as he headed toward the association's second-floor hall. As Shifeng arrived before the VIP counter on the second-floor hall, he received a call. The caller was none other than Phoenix Rain. Guild leader Black Flame, I've just heard about Blackwater's declaration of war on Zero Wing. As an ally, how can I be of help? Phoenix Rain asked. Zero Wing's development had progressed well lately. Moreover, Zero Wing's naval force continued to grow stronger, assisting her on Thunder Island. This help gave her more leeway. Now that Zero Wing was in such a predicament, she had to pay back the debt she owed. Since Phoenix Pavilion Master has offered, I won't shy away. I've been informed that Blackwater has been quite close with Nine Dragons Emperor recently. I'm guessing that Nine Dragons Emperor helped the guild capture the Crimson Flame Fortress. I hope that you can help me hinder Nine Dragons Emperor as much as possible, Shifeng said, his gratitude obvious in his voice. That won't be a problem. I'll send some people to cause him some trouble. We'll make sure that Nine Dragons Emperor has no time to assist in the Ore Empire, Phoenix Rain said, nodding. However, Blackwater and Beast Emperor are still allies. Their combined forces should not be underestimated. I can have Blue Phoenix lead a team of experts to assist you. Although they wouldn't be enough to contend with Blackwater and Beast Emperor's forces, they can deter dark players from participating. That won't be necessary. Blue Phoenix is your capable and trusted aide. She must have a lot to do, as well, Shifeng said, chuckling. As for Blackwater, Beast Emperor, and the dark players, I have a plan to deal with them. They'll soon learn that Zero Wing shouldn't be trifled with. He knew that Phoenix Rain had her own issues right now. The struggle on Thunder Island was far more troublesome than the struggle in the Ore Empire. Every competitor on Thunder Island was a superpower with an extraordinary foundation, and a single misstep could eliminate one from the competition. If Phoenix Rain could prevent Nine Dragons Emperor from joining the fight in the Ore Empire, that would be enough. All right. If you need extra funds, you can contact me for help at any time. Phoenix Rain was a little surprised that Shifeng had rejected her goodwill, but it wouldn't be right to insist on sending him reinforcements. After discussing the Dark Corrosion set, Phoenix Rain disconnected the call. Big Sis Rain, how did things go with Zero Wing? Should I lead some of my men over? Blue Phoenix asked curiously. Not at the moment. It seems that Zero Wing has already prepared for this. However, since Blackwater has decided to go all out, I doubt those preparations will last very long. It's best if you are ready to head out at a moment's notice, Phoenix Rain said. I understand. Blue Phoenix nodded. She felt as if Zero Wing was being too stubborn this time. Blackwater had occupied the Iron Empire, and its development speed was ridiculously fast. Even the Great Pavilion Master was awed by Blackwater's success. Blackwater even had more experts than the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion right now. The guild only lacked Domain Realm experts. However, while Blackwater didn't have Domain Realm experts, it had countermeasures for such monstrous players. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to remove the super first-rate guilds that had occupied the Empire. Meanwhile, inside a VIP room of White River City's Adventurers Association. Lord Protector, how may I be of service today? An NPC senior administrator asked Shifeng respectfully. I wish to promote Zero Wing to a 4-star guild. Here is the promotion order, Shifeng said. He then retrieved the 4-star guild promotion order and placed it on the table for the senior administrator to inspect. Chapter 1855, Town Level Guild. Chapter 1855, Town Level Guild. Promotion to a 4-star guild? That won't be a problem, the NPC senior administrator said as he turned his eyes towards the purple golden token on the table. Once he saw the token, however, a look of surprise flashed across his face as he asked, Lord Protector, do you really intend to use this advanced 4-star guild promotion order? Is something wrong with it? Shifeng asked. Although he had noticed that the 4-star guild promotion order he had acquired was a different color than those he had seen in his previous life, it was a 4-star guild promotion order. He hadn't paid it much attention, assuming that the promotion order was slightly different since it had dropped from a world boss. Lord Protector, advanced 4-star guild promotion orders were produced when the Adventurers Association had first established. There are only 22 of these advanced promotion orders in existence scattered across God's domain's continent. They are considered a trial for adventurer guilds, and the more advanced promotion orders an adventurer guild collects, the higher its status will be, enjoying greater treatment in the Adventurer Association once it becomes a 4-star guild. If an adventurer guild collects 3 advanced 4-star guild promotion orders, it will be treated as a city-state level guild. If an adventurer guild collects 7 advanced promotion orders, it'll be treated as a kingdom-level guild. Currently, you already have 1 advanced promotion order. If you collect another 2, the Adventurers Association will recognize your guild as a city-state, Lord Protector. However, if you promote your guild now, you will lose the opportunity and will have to climb the ranks slowly, starting as a town-level guild. Are you sure that you want to use this advanced 4-star guild promotion order now? After listening to the senior administrator's explanation, Shifeng looked at the purple gold token on the table, a little surprised. So, the Adventurers Association has this kind of method to elevate a guild status. Shifeng understood what the statuses the senior administrator had mentioned represented. Other guilds would only come to learn and value the information after they were promoted to 4-star status. Once guilds reached 4-star status, they'd open a path in the Adventurers Association, gaining a temporary residence in every Adventurers Association across the continent of God's domain. From then on, members of 4-star guilds' base of operations wouldn't be limited to one or a few locations. They could expand their development across the entire continent and use the opportunity to increase the EXP and income they earned. This so-called path meant recognition from the Adventurers Association as an official guild. Official guilds would then be able to engage in adventurer guild work. However, even after becoming an official guild, guilds would receive varying benefits from the Adventurers Association. When a guild first became a 4-star guild, it would be treated as an ordinary level guild. If the guild wished to receive more support from the association, it would have to raise its status. The simplest method of doing so involved upgrading the guild's status from ordinary to town level, city-state level, kingdom level, and finally, empire level. Depending on the guild's rank in the Adventurers Association, the guild would have access to different degrees of problems. At the ordinary level, guilds would be commissioned to solve civilian problems. Generally, these problems were similar to large-scale guild quests that required guilds to wipe out some demonic beasts harassing the civilian population. Only, they might reward more EXP than ordinary large-scale guild quests. After an adventurer guild reached the town level, the Adventurers Association would acknowledge the guild's ability to solve a town's problems. Normally, town-level guilds would receive commissions from town nobles, and the rewards would be much better than ordinary-level commissions. Even when a town-level guild accepted a civilian commission, the quest would reward more than what an ordinary-level guild would receive. After all, a town-level guild was much stronger than an ordinary-level guild. When a guild reached city-state level, it proved to the Adventurers Association that it was strong enough to solve issues that plagued an entire region. Commissions city-state level guilds generally received involved crusades against the dark forces in a particular area. Normally, to rise from ordinary level to city-state level, a guild had to complete a significant number of large-scale guild quests, slowly accumulating prestige in the Adventurers Association. Large-scale guild quests only awarded 3 to 5 prestige points, but becoming a town-level guild required 700 to 1,000 prestige, depending on where the guild's main headquarters was located. The number and quality of large-scale guild quests would differ depending on the size of its NPC city, so the more prosperous the city was, the more prestige a guild needed to increase its rank. "Thank you for the advice, but I have decided to go through with the promotion," Shifeng said after giving the matter some thought. The revelation was indeed surprising. After all, just one advanced promotion order was enough to promote a guild to town level. Normally, it would take a large guild several years to achieve such a feat as for reaching the city-state levels. Not many large guilds would rise so high within their lifetimes. This was because promotion to the city-state level required a guild to complete a large-scale promotion quest in addition to earning enough prestige. This promotion quest was despairingly difficult. In the past, only a small number of second-rate guilds had completed the quest, yet a guild only needed 3 advanced promotion orders to become a city-state level guild. As for kingdom level, Only a small number of first-rate guilds had reached that rank in the past. However, Shifeng didn't have the time to search for more advanced 4-star guild promotion orders. Most importantly, he didn't have a clear idea of where to obtain them. Even if he knew that world bosses dropped them, he wasn't strong enough to hunt those bosses yet. He had only slain the Flame Demon King thanks to his quest. If he tried to raid a mythic-ranked world boss, he'd only be asking for a beating. Since Lord Protector has decided, the processing fees and guild residence reconstruction fees come to a total of 60,000 gold. However, due to your status, we can offer you a discount of 10,000 gold, dropping your total to 50,000 gold, the senior administrator said after making some calculations. 50,000? Doesn't a normal promotion to 4-star status only cost 12,000 gold? Shifeng had already begun to retrieve the money from his bag, but after hearing the total cost, he froze with shock. As you are using the advanced 4-star guild promotion order, the promotion will require more work than usual. We also have to notify the various cities' nobles and announce the officialization of the Zero Wing Guild. Hence, the procedural fees are slightly higher, the senior administrator said. How fraudulent. The senior administrator's statement rendered Shifeng speechless. However, when he thought about how Zero Wing would instantly become a town-level guild, he considered the cost relatively low. This was basically spending money to save time. Following which, he obediently took out 50,000 gold and handed it to the NPC. While he had seen to his quest, Phoenix Rain and Unyielding Heart had paid off the materials they had purchased, earning him another 120,000 gold. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to afford the promotion fees. Once the NPC confirmed Shifeng's payment, a series of system notifications reached Shifeng's ears. Chapter 1856 Shock. Chapter 1856 Shock. Star Moon Kingdom Region System Announcement. Congratulations to Zero Wing for becoming Star Moon Kingdom's first 4-star guild. Rewarding 1 set of intermediate guild defensive magic arrays, 3,000 gold in guild funds, and 50,000 guild popularity. Guild emblem upgraded to Mysterious Iron rank. Star Moon Kingdom Region System Announcement. Congratulations to Zero Wing for becoming the first guild to own a 4-star guild residence. Rewarding 100 Adventurers Association prestige and 20,000 guild popularity. Guild battle flag upgraded to bronze rank. Upon hearing the system announcements, Star Moon Kingdom's players couldn't help but gasp. I'm not hearing things, am I? Zero Wing actually became a 4-star guild? Zero Wing is amazing. I haven't even heard of a 3-star super guild, yet Zero Wing has already been promoted to a 4-star guild. Zero Wing's members are so lucky. I've heard that joining a 3-star guild will help new players quickly become elites. The Bronze Guild emblem even increases the buffs when you're in a party with other guild members. A 3-star guild receives more high-ranked quests than a 2-star guild, too. What kind of benefits will a 4-star guild enjoy? I don't know, but the benefits are definitely going to be better. Moreover, Zero Wing's guild emblem has been upgraded to Mysterious Iron rank. The buffs the emblem provides will be much stronger. Maybe I should try my luck with joining Zero Wing. As expected of Zero Wing, Blackwater has just declared war on the guild, yet Zero Wing has retaliated with such power. Blackwater will likely find Zero Wing a difficult opponent. There's no doubt about that. I just received some insider information from a friend of mine. He just got his Mysterious Iron guild emblem from the guild residence, and he says it's much stronger than before. The bronze emblem only provides 3% more HP and 1% more attack power, but the Mysterious Iron version provides up to 2% to all basic attributes, attack power, defense, and EXP gain. As long as 6 or more guild members are within 150 yards, players will enjoy the maximum buff. There's no need to be in the same party. Right. There's also the bronze-ranked guild battle flag. That's basically a treasure for raiding dungeons. As long as you purchase it, you can plant it in a dungeon, and all guild members within 200 yards will receive a 10% increase to all attributes for 5 minutes. After seeing the system announcements, Star Moon Kingdom's independent players engaged in a heated discussion on the official forums. Many players had abandoned the thought of joining Zero Wing after Blackwater's declaration of war, but now that Zero Wing was a 4-star guild, it offered even better benefits. When these independent players learned about these benefits, they began to reconsider their positions. Zero Wing's new benefits were simply too tempting, especially the guild emblem. Previously, the Bronze Guild emblem had offered free teleportation between guild residences and increased attributes when in a party with other guild members. Not only did the Bronze Guild emblem save Zero Wing's members money, but it also made it easier to grind monsters. Now that the guild emblem had been upgraded to Mysterious Iron rank, its effects had more than doubled. Moreover, the guild now had access to the Bronze Guild battle flag. With the battle flag's help, Zero Wing's members would have a much easier time with dungeon bosses. After all, not every player in the game had the opportunity to learn a Berserk skill. Meanwhile, the guild battle flag's buff was akin to a mini Berserk skill for the entire team. Meanwhile, the various major powers soon learned of Zero Wing's latest promotion. So, this is what Black Flame was talking about. Phoenix Rain could not help but shake her head and smile as she read the latest report regarding Zero Wing. Sure enough, Zero Wing hasn't changed. It is always full of surprises. Big Sis Rain, I wish I could see the expressions of Blackwater and Nine Dragons Empress people when they hear about this, Blue Phoenix said, giggling. Even she was tempted by the benefits a 4-star guild enjoyed, not to mention independent players. She could already imagine the massive crowd that would form outside of Zero Wing's guild residences. Zero Wing would definitely increase its strength in a short time. Moreover, with the Mysterious Iron Guild emblem and Bronze Guild battle flag, she could already foresee Zero Wing's members improving significantly in a short time. After all, both items would drastically reduce the difficulty of raiding team dungeons. Players that had struggled to increase their attributes could now raid these dungeons, acquiring better weapons and equipment. These players could then use these weapons and equipment to raid team dungeons of greater difficulty and acquire even better items, creating an endless cycle. Black Flame's latest trump card is certainly impressive. With the benefits of a 4-star guild hastening its development, Zero Wing has a chance in a war of attrition against Blackwater in the Orc Empire. As more time passes, Zero Wing will also be able to include more members in the fight. On the other hand, Blackwater severely lacks manpower, Phoenix Rain said, nodding. She hadn't actually thought that Shifeng was capable of such a move. It was no wonder why the man had rejected her offer for reinforcements. Orc Empire, Crimson Flame Fortress. After the Crimson Flame Fortress had opened to the public, a large number of players had gathered there, seeking the Orc capital city's treasures. The fortress's player population was even more frightening than Silverwing Town's. However, while the town was quite lively, the meeting room in the castle was not. Vice Guild Leader, according to our investigation, many experts from the neighboring kingdoms have begun to consider visiting Starmoon Kingdom to join Zero Wing due to its promotion to a 4-star guild, Falling Fire said, reading the report in his hands with a grim expression. All 20-plus guild upper echelons inside the meeting room were deathly silent as they looked at the woman in the seat of honor. The woman had long, light red hair draped over her shoulders, and she wore a suit of sacred crimson armor. The woman looked to be around 25 or 26 and radiated a majestic charm. However, when everyone present looked at this charming beauty, fear and cowardice overwhelmed them, clear on their faces. Even Falling Fire, who was responsible for Blackwater's forces in the Orc Empire, only engaged this woman with trepidation. Their reaction was not because she was a level 57, Tier 2 shield warrior. Rather, it was due to her identity as one of Blackwater's Vice Guild leaders and her title as the Iron Valkyrie, granted by the Secret Pavilion. Xuanwu Kaisho. Despite her age, Xuanwu Kaisho had become a master-level expert in the Blackwater Corporation's dojo. She was also one of the corporation's heirs. After joining God's Domain, she had displayed monstrous talent. First, she had defeated over 50 experts on the God's Domain experts list. Then, she had challenged several old monsters from the various super guilds before leading Blackwater's forces to dominate the Iron Empire, relying on her vicious tactics until she secured the guild's position as the Empire's overlord. Now, to secure Blackwater's hold of the Orc Empire, she had arrived to oversee the guild's development personally. She was also responsible for the plan to target Zero Wing. Good. Then, can anyone here tell me why we only learned about Zero Wing's promotion after the fact? Xuanwu Kaisha asked softly as she swept her gaze over the people before her. Chapter 1857 Airport. Chapter 1857 Airport. The atmosphere inside the quiet meeting room became even tenser at Xuanwu Chisha's question. After the silence continued for some time, a young man, who was a level 56, Tier 2 assassin, stood up. Vice Guild Leader, my subordinates did not do their job properly and failed to notice Zero Wing's actions in time. Afterward, I'll have them transferred. No, I'll send them packing right away, the assassin youth said nervously. Blackwater has no need for incompetent people. When everyone present heard the intelligence team leader's decision, they did not express any opinions about it, neither did they feel surprised by it. After all, the vice guild leader before them was extremely vicious in her actions. Moreover, her viciousness wasn't limited to her enemies but extended to her allies as well. Xuanwu Kaisha did not tolerate mistakes from her subordinates. A subordinate that slipped up would incur terrifying consequences. Not to mention, Zero Wing's promotion to 4-star guild was a huge incident, yet the intelligence team spying on Zero Wing had actually failed to get any hint of it. Well said. Xuanwu Kaisha smiled, clapping her hands as she walked up to the assassin youth. In that case, you can also get lost now. Following Xuanwu Chisha's words, everyone in the room received a notification that the assassin youth had been expelled from the guild and was no longer a member of Blackwater. Vice Guild Leader. When the assassin youth saw the expulsion notice, he turned to Xuanwu Kaisha in shock. He had never thought that she would actually remove a managerial figure like himself just like that. Just as the assassin youth was about to say something more, Xuanwu Kaisha suddenly unsheathed the sword hanging from her waist and sent a dark purple arc cutting at him. Before the assassin youth could even react, his vision started darkening. A moment later, the assassin youth's body collapsed to the ground, and multiple weapons and equipment dropped beside his body. After the assassin youth died, his corpse slowly disintegrated, transforming into dark purple smoke. The smoke then flowed into Xuanwu Chisha's sword. Everyone inside the room could faintly hear agonizing screams coming from the purple smoke. Suddenly, fear permeated the entire room. Everyone present looked at Xuanwu Kaisha with a dumbfounded expression. The assassin youth, named Grey Blade, was the vice commander of the Or Empire Branch Guild's main force. At the same time, he was the head of the Branch Guild's intelligence department. Despite his high position, Xuanwu Kaisha had actually expelled him after just a few words. She had even killed Grey Blade without hesitation. This situation evoked an unprecedented fear in everyone. They could tell that Grey Blade had not died an ordinary death. Otherwise, the assassin youth wouldn't have dropped over half of the weapons and equipment he wielded and let loose such soul-piercing cries. He also definitely did not lose just one level. Once Grey Blade resurrected, his account would most likely be crippled. After Xuanwu Kaisha sheathed the glowing purple sword she wielded, no one inside the meeting room dared to look at her in the eye. Everyone simply lowered their heads and fixed their eyes on the floor, deeply afraid of becoming the next Grey Blade. Snowscar, you'll take over his job from now on. I believe you won't disappoint me, right? Xuanwu Kaisha said as she looked toward a cloaked and thin level 56, Tier 2 berserker standing by the entrance of the room. Vice Guild Leader, please rest assured. The Heavenly Eagle Legion I lead definitely will not disappoint you, the berserker addressed as Snowscar said respectfully as he lowered the hood of his black cloak. Upon hearing the name Snowscar, everyone present turned automatically to look at the berserker. When they saw the man's appearance, they could not help but gape in shock. Snowscar? Isn't he the #1 berserker of the super first-rate guild Puzzled Star? Falling Fire was also surprised when he saw Snowscar. Everyone present was no stranger to this name. Puzzled Star was a super first-rate guild that had contended against Blackwater over the Iron Empire. Meanwhile, among Puzzled Star's forces, the berserker named Snowscar had given Blackwater plenty of headaches. Yet, now, Snowscar had actually joined Blackwater. Moreover, he had even become one of Xuanwu Chisha's direct subordinates. This revelation was simply too shocking. Since Zero Wing plans on using the benefits of a 4-star guild to fight a war of attrition with us, let's play along with them, Xuanwu Kaisha said as she eyed the map of the Or Empire displayed at the center of the meeting table. When she looked at the terrain around Silverwing City, the corners of her lips curled up slightly. The Iron Empire has become very boring lately, now that no more enemies remain there. Hopefully, Zero Wing can bring me some entertainment. Meanwhile, inside Zero Wing's residence in White River City, the atmosphere was extremely lively. Due to Zero Wing's promotion to 4-star guild, the guild residence in White River City had gotten upgraded into a 4-star residence. The new guild residence was much more majestic than before. The guild hall was now a massive 9-story tall building. Not only were there more private rooms available, but even the first-floor lobby had undergone significant changes. Now, aside from the counter that issued high-ranking quests, there was also a counter operated by the Adventurers Association inside the lobby. This counter allowed players to pick up high-ranking quests that were normally out of reach. Meanwhile, these quests could help Tier 2 players not only quickly raise their reputation in the Adventurers Association but also acquire tons of EXP and remuneration. Guild Leader. Thus far, the number of applicants for the guild test has increased by 50%. Many of our guild's experts have also started forming teams with elite members to raid level 50 team dungeons. I believe it won't be long before our guild elites have level 50 secret silver equipment as well, Aqua Rose reported excitedly. Then, we'll be able to dispatch large numbers of well-equipped elite and expert members to Silverwing Town and show Blackwater and those dark players who's boss. Although mainstream players had already reached level 50, due to the sharp decrease in drop rate for level 50 weapons and equipment, players weren't particularly well equipped right now. Let alone elite players, even level 50 plus expert players currently had only a few pieces of level 50 secret silver equipment on them. Excellent. Since so many people in the guild wish to raid level 50 team dungeons, let them prioritize raiding these team dungeons, Shifeng said as he pointed out a few level 50 team dungeons in Star Moon Kingdom. Although these team dungeons did not drop the best weapons, equipment, and materials, they were sources of fire essence stones, ice crystal water, and titan ore. These 3 materials were extremely rare and were very difficult to acquire from the market. However, they were also the main materials necessary for the Hell Tank. Currently, due to Zero Wing's promotion to 4-star guild, the guild's fame had skyrocketed, and the guild's growth potential had risen considerably. As a result of this change, however, the guild had also earned the attention of many superpowers. Originally, he had planned on directly taking control of the secret stone fortress. However, if he did so now, the consequences would be extremely severe. The various superpowers coveting the fortress would definitely go crazy over the matter. Hence, what he needed to do right now wasn't to take control of the secret stone fortress but to boost the guild's combat power. Meanwhile, the simplest way to do so was to expand the guild's arsenal of war weapons. Currently, he had 2 new war weapons he could make. One was the Guardian Puppet, while the other was the Hell Tank. He had just acquired the Philosopher's Hand, and it would take Melancholic Smile some time to select trustworthy advanced lifestyle players. Nurturing these advanced lifestyle players into masters would also take quite a lot of time. The production of the Guardian Puppet required too many masters. It simply wasn't feasible to nurture the necessary masters within the amount of time remaining to take control of the secret stone fortress. Hence, the only option he had left was the Hell Tank. With sufficient Hell Tanks, although these wouldn't allow Zero Wing's members to roam the Or Empire uncontested, defending the secret stone fortress should not be a problem. I understand. I'll have our guild members focus on raiding these dungeons, Aqua Rose said, nodding. She then started making the necessary arrangements. Meanwhile, after Shifeng was done assigning tasks, he went to White River City's teleportation hall and teleported to Star Moon City, then headed to the capital's city hall. Lord Protector, how may I be of service to you today? An NPC senior administrator greeted Shifeng as soon as he entered the building. Hello, I wish to construct an airport linked to Star Moon City in Silverwing Town. Here is my airport's construction certificate, Shifeng replied as he retrieved an ancient parchment from his bag. Chapter 1858, Medium Airship. Chapter 1858, Medium Airship. After the senior administrator verified the airport building order's authenticity, he presented a list of airport designs for Shifeng to choose from. Unlike other advanced constructions, players only needed an airport building order to construct an airport. The airport size would depend on the player's budget. Players had 3 sizes to choose from: small, medium, and large. The larger an airport was, the more airship docks it would have. Moreover, the system would allocate higher quality airships. How expensive! As Shifeng examined the various airports' prices, he felt like a poor bastard. The cheapest airport on the list the senior administrator had provided cost 50,000 gold to construct, whereas the most expensive small airport cost 150,000 gold. Needless to say, the medium and large airports cost even more. Although he had known the minimum price for constructing a small airport, he hadn't expected such a large price disparity between the cheapest and most expensive small airports available. Of course, the most expensive small airport was worth every coin. The 50,000 gold airport looked shabby next to the 150,000 gold option. The 50,000 gold airport only had 4 small docks, which were only available to ordinary small airships. The 150,000 gold option had 6 small docks, and all 6 housed small bronze airships. Not only were small bronze airships 30% faster than ordinary small airships, but their load capacity was also 50% higher. The profits a small bronze airship could generate was more than double that of an ordinary small airship. However, after deducting the promotion fees he had paid earlier, he only had a little over 90,000 gold on hand. It was obviously not possible to construct the best small airport available right now. Moreover, if he wished to become the Secret Stone Fortress's advanced manager, he needed to fork over another 60,000 gold. He still had 2 days left before he had to pay the 60,000 gold for the Secret Stone Fortress. Although he could earn a lot of money through the guild's territories and selling the rare materials from the Ice Crystal world, he should have barely enough money for the cheapest airport and the required fees for the Secret Stone Fortress with the total profits. It seems I have no choice but to go with the cheapest option for now and rebuild a better one once I have the money to do so. Shifeng could not help his sigh as he read the list. As long as players qualified to build an airport in a town, they could build whatever kind of airport they wished. However, once an airport had been constructed, it couldn't be upgraded. If players weren't satisfied with their small airport and wanted to construct a medium airport, they'd have to remove the current construction and build the desired airport from scratch. In other words, players would have to pay the full price for a medium airport, rather than the price difference. This was why even super guilds didn't dare to expand their airports casually. Lord Protector, as you are the first heaven-blessed individual in Starmoon Kingdom to construct an airport, we have 2 additional small airport models and 1 medium airport model we can offer. May I know if you are interested in seeing them? The senior administrator asked, smiling at Shifeng, who was deep in thought. Let me take a look. Shifeng's eyes glowed with interest when he heard the NPC's offer. This additional recommendation was the equivalent of a bonus reward. Naturally, he wouldn't ignore the potential opportunity. The senior administrator then retrieved a second list, handing it to Shifeng. Although the list only had 1 page, listing only 3 airport variations, descriptions covered the page. Only a fraction of the descriptions included simple introductions, while rules and regulations took up the majority of the page. Model 024, Small Airport. Price, 150,000 gold. Has 5 small docks, each equipped with a small bronze airship. Has 1 medium dock, equipped with a medium bronze airship. Installment plan, down payment of 60,000 gold and pay an additional 200,000 gold within 1 month. If payment is not completed within that time, the airport will be repossessed. Model 039, Small Airport. Price, 180,000 gold. Has 6 small docks, each equipped with a small bronze airship. Has 1 medium dock, equipped with a medium bronze airship. Installment plan, down payment of 80,000 gold and pay an additional 240,000 gold within 1 month. If payment is not completed within that time, the airport will be repossessed. Shifeng couldn't ignore the temptation of these two models. Not only could he pay in installments, but the small airports even had a medium dock and a medium bronze airship. Normally, this benefit was only included with medium airports. A medium airship wasn't just larger than a small airship, it also allowed NPC merchants to transport large and special cargo that small airships couldn't handle. As for the medium airport the NPC recommended, Shifeng had instinctively ignored it. 500,000 gold was more than enough of a reason to pass the option by. Lord Protector, are you satisfied with the airports listed? The senior administrator asked. If you cannot decide or lack sufficient funds, we can reserve these 3 options for you for 3 days. No need. I'll go with Model 024, Shifeng said without hesitation. He definitely couldn't afford the medium airport, even if he bankrupted himself. As for Model 039, he would have chosen it if he could have. After all, it only cost an additional 30,000 gold, or a total of 60,000 if he chose the installment plan, for an additional small dock and small bronze airship. However, if he paid the 80,000 down payment, he would have a very difficult time collecting the 60,000 gold required to claim the secret stone fortress. Hence, he had chosen Model 024. Although paying the remaining 200,000 gold within 1 month would be a little troublesome, with Zero Wing's current development rate, it wasn't entirely impossible. Moreover, with an additional medium dock and medium bronze airship, his airport would likely generate enough income to cover a significant portion of his debt. Furthermore, the airport's construction would increase the income from Silverwing Town's other facilities. Lord Protector, the Model 024 you have chosen comes to 150,000 gold. Would you like to issue a one-time payment or pay in installments? The senior administrator asked respectfully. I'll pay in installments, Shifeng said. He then retrieved 60,000 gold from his bag, leaving him with just a little over 30,000 gold. All right. Once the senior administrator confirmed the payment, he explained, I have received the 60,000 gold. I will soon send people to Silverwing Town to start the construction. The airport will take 2 natural days to complete. If you wish it, you can reduce the construction time to 1 natural day by paying an additional 6,000 gold. Just build it normally, Shifeng replied. Building an airport required a lot of time, which he knew. That was also why he had chosen to construct the airport now. If he completed the airport a day before schedule, it would do more harm than good. Once Shifeng finished with the airport selection, he returned to White River City's candlelight trading firm. He had to set aside his original plan of helping Kola and Alluring Summer level up, sending the 2 to Beslow Hills, a neutral map near Star Moon Kingdom, once they had formed a 6-man party instead. The Beslow Hills was a level 70 neutral map and home to the undead. Although the monsters there were roughly as strong as the monsters in the Flame Demon's Valley, the party would face far less danger than in the valley. Moreover, undead generally had below average HP. With Kola's current equipment, he'd be able to resist the undead army in the area. His 5 party members would simply need to consume holy light potions, converting their attacks into light type. Light type attacks dealt double damage to undead, which would significantly increase the party's grinding speed. Many of Star Moon Kingdom's large guilds had used this method to power level new, low-level members in the past. The only downside to this was that undead monsters were very poor. Even after killing an army of several hundred undead, one wouldn't earn enough money to cover the cost of a single holy light potion. After making the necessary arrangements for Kola and Alluring Summer's leveling, Shifeng returned to his special forging room in the candlelight trading firm. He then took the subclass dark gold design from his bag. Anticipation flashed in Shifeng's eyes as he gazed at the blank parchment before him. He then pulled the Hell Tank design from his bag. The Hell Tank required multiple subclasses to craft its various components. The Forger subclass was only one of them. Among the parts the Forger subclass had to craft, the most important were the power source and the sturdy, outer shell. As an intermediate tank, both were fine gold rank. If he could upgrade one of them to dark gold rank, it would definitely improve the overall Hell Tank. With his current forging standards, modifying the Hell Tank's power source or outer shell would be impossible. Not even an advanced master forger was guaranteed to accomplish the task. However, the subclass Dark Gold design before him could forcefully modify and upgrade a low-rank design to Dark Gold rank, making the impossible possible. Of course, he had never actually heard of anyone achieving the feat, so he wasn't sure if it was possible, but if he succeeded, the Hell Tank would become far more powerful. Improving the outer shell will only increase the tank's defense and durability, but the tank's offensive abilities are more important. Let's go with the power source. After examining the Hell Tank design before him for some time, Shifeng decided to upgrade the tank's power source. Shifeng activated the subclass Dark Gold design and designated the Hell Tank's power source design as the target. A loading bar then appeared as the system analyzed and modified the design. Please succeed. Shifeng silently prayed as he watched the loading bar slowly fill. TL notes. Hell Tank, changed Hell Chariot, from Chapter 1771, Hell Tank. Chapter 1859, Improved Power Source. Chapter 1859, Improved Power Source. As the light blue loading bar filled, the analysis began to take more time to complete. Once the analysis reached 90% completion, each subsequent percentage took over a dozen seconds. Don't tell me it's going to fail. Shifeng couldn't help his growing nerves as he watched the loading bar. Blank subclass designs generally had a 100% modification success rate, but as far as he knew, no one had ever tried to modify parts of a design. The subclass design was a one-time use item, vanishing regardless of whether the modification succeeded or not. Nobody would take the risk of losing an opportunity to upgrade their subclass to the next rank. Finally, after more than 10 minutes, the modification finished. And Shifeng heard the sound of a system notification. System, congratulations. You have modified the Hell Tank's power source and acquired the Dark Gold ranked Hell Tank power source design. System, congratulations. You have created the Dark Gold ranked Hell Tank power source design. Wonderful. Shifeng was ecstatic as he watched words and diagrams appear on the blank parchment before him. Now that he had created a new Dark Gold item, he only needed to accumulate 100,000 forging proficiency points to become an intermediate master forger. Following which, Shifeng eagerly clicked to inspect the Dark Gold power source design. The upgrade would improve the power source's transfer of energy throughout the Hell Tank. Not only would this increase the Hell Tank's movement speed, but it would also increase the power of the tank's cannons. Amazing. It's so much stronger after the modification. Shifeng was astonished as he inspected the upgraded power source. At the fine gold rank, the power source could supply anywhere from 200 to 300 units of energy per second. This energy would power the Hell Tank's movement, defenses, and attacks. After its upgrade to Dark Gold rank, the power source could generate between 320 and 400 units of energy per second. In terms of performance, the power source had improved by more than 30%. Moreover, the new power source's energy output was far more stable. Now, the Hell Tank's Dark Gold power source could rival the power source of an advanced tank. Although advanced tanks' power sources were also Dark Gold rank, they required far more precious materials to construct. The required materials for the Hell Tank's modified power source, on the other hand, hadn't changed. Only, the design now required a higher quantity of materials. The fact that it could rival an advanced tank's power source was amazing. The various empires commanded advanced tanks to combat mythic monsters. These war weapons weren't available to players. Guild leader, I've already collected all the materials you've requested in Blackwing City. Abyss and the others have also returned from Ocean Viewing Town. Melancholic Smile reported joyfully as she entered Shifeng's forging room. Should I bring them to you? Send them here, Shifeng said, nodding. Now that he had completed the modifications, he could start the Hell Tank's production. With Titan City and Burning Abyss's tutelage, the Candlelight trading firm had gained 2 more master engineers, bringing the total to 3, the minimum required to craft the Hell Tank. Although Shifeng wasn't an intermediate master forger yet, with the Philosopher's Hand, he could perform like one. In addition, he had a much higher success rate when forging the power source than ordinary intermediate master forgers since he had created the upgraded power source. A short moment later, Burning Abyss and the 2 other master engineers stepped into Shifeng's special forging room. Despite these three players' status as master engineers, they still looked at Shifeng with nervous and excited energy. Anywhere else, even a first-rate guild's guild leader would have to treat them with respect due to their identities as master engineers. However, as employees of the Candlelight trading firm, they knew their place in the trading firm. Master lifestyle players might be good, but they were not irreplaceable. With the Candlelight trading firm's strength, it would have no issues nurturing more masters in the future. They were proof of this. Guild leader, do you need us for something? Burning Abyss asked. I've asked you here today to help me produce an item. However, before we do, you'll need to sign a confidentiality agreement, Shifeng told Burning Abyss's group of 3. If any of you don't wish to do so, I won't force you. I'll just find someone else to replace you later. If there are no problems, the contracts are on the table. Burning Abyss and his companions revealed confused expressions. Before they had become master engineers, they had signed Candlelight's core member contract, which was already quite strict. Logically, there should be no need to sign an additional confidentiality agreement. Although these 3 were curious, they didn't hesitate to sign the new contract Shifeng had presented. Good. Since you've signed the contract, take a look at this, Shifeng said as he revealed the Hell Chariot design to the 3 master engineers. If you don't have any issues with it, you may begin production right away. When the 3 master engineers saw the design, they were dazed. Amazing. This is an intermediate tank. Burning Abyss's eyes glowed with excitement as Head read the Hell tank's introduction. The other 2 master engineers couldn't tear themselves away from the design after seeing it, and they wanted nothing more than to test their skills on the Hell tank's production. Although they had learned a lot while producing speedboats, the knowledge they had gained was a drop in the ocean compared to what they would learn as they crafted this intermediate tank. If they grasped the Hell tank's production method, it could even help promote them to intermediate masters. Guild leader, we don't have any problems with the engineering aspects of this design, but some of its components will require an intermediate master forger, Burning Abyss said awkwardly. Don't worry about that. I'll send the components to you soon, Shifeng said. Shifeng's decisive, confident reply stunned the 3 engineers. Has the guild leader already been promoted to intermediate master forger? This thought popped into the master engineers' minds. They couldn't think of any other explanation for how Shifeng would acquire the required components. An intermediate master. They had only become basic masters after a long struggle, and even now, they had no idea how to become intermediate masters. They didn't even know if they could reach the intermediate master rank, yet Shifeng had just hinted that he had already become one. Alright, you guys should get to work on the basic components. I'll have the forging components sent over soon. Naturally, Shifeng knew what these 3 were thinking, but he didn't bother to refute their assumptions. Although he wasn't an official intermediate master, he wasn't far from becoming one. After all, he only lacked sufficient proficiency points. He could easily deal with that by investing time into forging items. Following which, Burning Abyss and the others went to another special workshop and started to craft the necessary basic components. As for Shifeng, he activated the Philosopher's Hand's Philosopher's Soul. He then began to refine the Titan ore and the various other materials Melancholic Smile had delivered. After 8 straight hours of work, Shifeng had finally crafted all of the Hell tank's forged components. Although he had failed multiple times and wasted a lot of materials, the losses were within his expectations. Burning Abyss and his engineers had long since completed their part, and once they received the forged components, the trio carefully began to piece it all together. As Shifeng watched the 3 master engineers combine the individual components and transform them into a full-fledged tank, he could not help his growing excitement. The Hell tank was crimson and 4 times the size of a tank in the real world. The Hell tank took up nearly half of the special forming room like some gigantic, slumbering beast. Guild leader, it's a success. We combined all of the components successfully. Burning Abyss shouted in elation as he inserted the final piece and received a notification from the system. Chapter 1860 New Hell Tank. Chapter I-860 New Hell Tank. Burning Abyss's joyful voice echoed inside the spacious and messy special workshop. When the other two master engineers saw the cold, pitch-black Hell tank before them, they, too, could not help but become excited. As the makers of the Hell tank, they knew very clearly just how amazing it was. The Hell tank's armor was made from Titan ore, an incomparably tough material that was basically indestructible to current players. If players couldn't damage the Hell tank's armor, then they wouldn't be able to reduce its durability, either. With the frightening mana output of the Hell tank's power source, the tank would be capable of rolling over any Tier 3 monsters in its path. As for Tier 2 players, they were no different from powerless children before the Hell tank. The destructive power of the Hell tank's body itself was already plenty troublesome to players, what more the firepower the Hell tank possessed. When they thought about fielding the Hell tank in combat in the future, they could easily imagine the Hell tank's destructive power instilling fear into their enemies. They really wished they could put the Hell tank to use right away. Excellent. Shifeng also could not help a little excitement as he looked at the completed Hell tank. Burning Abyss and the other two only understood that the Hell tank was a very powerful weapon. However, they failed to appreciate what an intermediate tank represented, never having witnessed how frightening an existence an intermediate tank was when used against players out in the fields. Even a 100-man, Tier 2 expert team would be helpless against a fully armed intermediate tank. There would only be one outcome, death. The powerful armor of an intermediate tank was not something that Tier 2 skills and spells could destroy. Only Tier 3 attacks stood a chance of damaging an intermediate tank slightly. Hence, for Tier 2 players, going up against an intermediate tank would be akin to raiding an invincible monster. However, the immunity to Tier 2 attacks and below still wasn't the most amazing aspect of an intermediate tank. The crucial detail about an intermediate tank was its speed and power. If one had an intermediate tank, one could basically move unhindered, so long as one did not come across Tier 3 or above players and monsters or players that wielded war weapons. After verifying that the production was a success, Shifeng arrived before the Hell tank and stored it inside his epic ranked spatial bag. This scene stupefied Burning Abyss and his fellow master engineers. The Hell tank wasn't an item that could be stored whole in a player's bag space. If players wished to store it there, they would have to disassemble it first into smaller parts because not only did the Hell tank occupy too many bag space slots, but its weight was also extraordinary. Normally, several players would be required to lug it around. Currently, even the most expensive 1,000-slot bag sold on the market could hold only 1/10 of the Hell tank. If one wanted to store the entire Hell tank in a single bag, said bag would need a capacity of 10,000 slots. However, this was still not the most crucial point. The deciding factor was the weight. Carrying a Hell tank required at least 5 strength-focused Tier 2 players. Nevertheless, Shifeng had actually stored the entire Hell tank all by himself. What Burning Abyss and the other two did not know was that epic ranked spatial bags existed in God's domain. Take Shifeng's spatial bag for example. Not only could it store 12,000 slots worth of items, but it also had a built-in warehouse that allowed the storage of non-bag space items. In addition, items stored inside the spatial bag wouldn't add to the load of players. Hence, Shifeng was able to store the Hell tank without problems. After collecting the Hell tank, Shifeng had to inspect its attributes. As the Hell tank was a war weapon, its attribute panel could not be inspected while it was present in the outside world. At most, one would see only its name when inspecting it. Only after storing it in a bag space could one inspect it. Hell tank, intermediate tank equipped with a dark gold rank power source. Maximum capacity, 20 people increases movement speed by 210%. Possesses upper rank Tier 2 defensive capabilities. Durability 400 additional skill 1 dash. Magic shield. Constructs a Tier 3 magic barrier that can absorb up to a maximum of 3 million damage for 24 minutes. Each use costs 18 magic crystals. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Additional skill 2 dash. Hell cannon, 1,700 yard range. Deals a devastating blow at the Tier 3 standard to a 35-yard radius. Each use costs 90 magic crystals. Cooldown, 14 seconds additional skill 3 dash. Flame spears, creates 14 flame spears. Each flame spear carries power at the peak of Tier 2 and has a 150-yard attack range. Cooldown, 7 seconds. It's improved by so much. Shifeng hid his astonishment as he looked at the attributes of the Hell Tank. The original Hell Tank was already top tier among intermediate tanks. However, upgrading its power source to Dark Gold rank had improved it significantly in every aspect. Not only did the higher mana output bring a 30% increase to its movement speed, but it also amplified the magic runes carved on the Hell Tank's armor, boosting the Hell Tank's defensive capabilities from Tier 2 to upper rank Tier 2. With this, even Tier 3 attacks would barely damage the Hell Tank. Aside from that, the upgraded power source had also strengthened the Hell Tank's firepower slightly and reduced its energy consumption somewhat. Overall, the Hell Tank's combat power had improved by at least 40%. Although it still wasn't comparable to an advanced tank, it also far superior to an ordinary intermediate tank. Guild Leader, now that we've completed the first Hell Tank, may we start production on the second one? Burning Abyss asked carefully as he looked at the silent Shifeng. He was already captivated with the Hell Tank at this point. The engineering techniques involved in the Hell Tank's production were superior to the production techniques for the ships he had made thus far. One could say that tanks were his current romance. Right now, all he wanted to do was mass-produce the Hell Tank and research the theories behind its production so that he could create his own tank in the future. However, the materials required to produce the Hell Tank were simply too staggering. Just the engineering materials needed were already extremely difficult to acquire, not to mention the forging materials. Without permission from the guild, the Hell Tank was not something he could produce as he wished. Of course. Currently, what you all need to do is produce the Hell Tank's engineering components from the materials on hand. If you run out, you can ask Melancholic for some more. I'll also try to have the forging components delivered to you as soon as possible, Shifeng replied, nodding. After seeing the Hell Tank's strength, he was even more certain of its necessity. Although Melancholic's Smile had collected barely enough materials for 3 or 4 Hell Tanks, which would be hardly sufficient to accomplish anything major, he had already mobilized the entire guild's power to collect the necessary main materials. It wouldn't be long before they acquired more Titan ore. Upon hearing Shifeng's command, the 3 master engineers grew even more excited. Without hesitation, they rushed back to their respective workstations and resumed producing the engineering components. As for Shifeng, he returned to his special forging room and crafted the forging components. He wanted to fabricate as many Hell Tanks as possible before the airport's completion. Like so, 2 days passed by in the blink of an eye. During this time, Zero Wings members were continuously raiding the dungeons Shifeng specified and collected a large amount of Titan ore, including the other rare materials Melancholic Smile sourced from other kingdoms and empires, which were integral to the Hell Tank's production. Shifeng and the others had managed to build 5 more Hell Tanks. Now, a total of 6 Hell Tanks were sitting inside the Candlelight Trading Firm's underground warehouse. Looking at the 6 Hell Tanks, Shifeng found them to be a spectacle to behold. Shifeng's forging proficiency had also increased rapidly during this period. Including the proficiency points the system awarded him before, he had over 70,000 forging proficiency points accumulated. He now needed just a little over 20,000 points to officially reach the intermediate master rank. As Shifeng was considering producing the components for the 7th Hell Tank, he suddenly received a system notification. System: the construction of Silverwing Town's airport is completed. Please check and ratify the construction work. Chapter 1861 Airport opening times up already? Chapter 1861 Airport opening times up already? After reading the system notification, Shifeng promptly stopped his work, contacted Cream Cocoa, and instructed her to take his place. He had worked constantly over the past 2 days to produce the Hell Tank. He had also used the Philosopher's Hand to help Cream Cocoa and Melancholic Smile forge the Hell Tank's components. After all, he was Zero Wings guild leader. He didn't have a lot of spare time to commit to the Hell Tank. Now that the 2 women had become basic master forgers, the Philosopher's Hand could help them perform as intermediate master forgers, as well. As the two women forged more components, their forging standards improved. Likewise, their production success rate increased. Although they weren't nearly as skilled as Shifeng when crafting the Hell Tank's upgraded power source, their success range was tolerable. With this, Melancholic Smile and Cream Cocoa could work on the Hell Tank's forged components as long as they had materials even if he wasn't around. When Hell Tanks were used on a battlefield, they weren't very effective unless an army had a certain number of them. However, once they had a sufficient force, players wouldn't be able to compare to their destructive power. Hence, production of the Hell Tanks must continue without pause. Moreover, once she used and familiarize herself with the Philosopher's Hand, Melancholic Smile could use the alchemy treasure effectively to nurture Candlelight's advanced lifestyle players. With it, she could gauge which players would quickly reach master rank. This, in turn, would increase Candlelight's strength far more quickly. After passing his work off to Cream Cocoa, Shifeng used a guild transfer scroll to teleport to Silverwing Town. Or Empire, Silverwing Town. As Shifeng walked through the streets, he could see that the town's player population had significantly decreased. The previously crowded main street alone had lost over half of its players. A strange depression had descended on the town. It was nowhere near as lively as it had been. Sure enough, the Crimson Flame Fortress's allure to elite and expert players is quite strong. With a glance at the streets, Shifeng noticed that the majority of these players were ordinary players. Very few were elites or experts. The Crimson Flame Fortress definitely couldn't compete with Silverwing Town in terms of facilities, but it could teleport players to various locations near the Ore capital city while evading the Ore army's strict patrol. It was a fatal attraction for elite and expert players since this allowed them to reach the Azura mode regional dungeon with far more ease. In contrast, although Silverwing Town was very close to the primordial divine ruin, a limited number of players were allowed to enter the ruin at any one time. Meanwhile, the various large guilds and superpowers monopolized the entry slots. Independent players had no chance of entering the ruin. It was natural that these players wanted to head towards the Ore capital city in search of treasure and EXP. After all, every player wanted to grow stronger and get rich overnight. The Ore capital city provided a golden opportunity. Even if players failed to find amazing treasure, they could acquire enough magic crystals in the regional dungeon to earn a small fortune, selling them to the various large guilds in bulk. Although the various team dungeons had a chance of dropping magic crystals, they didn't drop many, and the drop rate was painfully low. In contrast, even the Ore capital city's level 50+ Lord-ranked monsters had a considerably high drop rate. And these Lord-ranked monsters were common in the regional dungeon. Damn the Blackwater Guild. They've gone too far. We're not even Zero Wing members. We are just here for a few Silverwing Town transportation quests, yet they treat us like Zero Wing members, annihilating our team without a second thought. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Blackwater's members and the Dark players have stated that from tomorrow on, any player that wants to complete a transportation quest in Silverwing Town will have to pay a protection fee. Otherwise, they won't guarantee our safety during our quest. Surviving in Silverwing Town had become too difficult. I'm thinking of heading to the Ore capital city and be done with it. This is Zero Wing's territory. Isn't the guild going to do anything about this? Does Zero Wing even have the leeway to? Right now, Zero Wing's teams are constantly fighting Blackwater's members and the Dark players. There have already been several hundred skirmishes within Silverwing Town's vicinity. However, Blackwater is simply too ruthless. It used its point system to attract large numbers of elite and expert players to fight for it. Now, Blackwater's forces outnumber Zero Wing by many times. Zero Wing just doesn't have enough manpower to protect every corner of its territory. I've heard that Zero Wing has suffered more than 20,000 casualties already. Where would Zero Wing find the time and manpower to deal with the highway robberies? I've also heard that Aqua Rose personally led an expert legion to stop Blackwater's members in order to protect its territory. In the end, nearly half of Zero Wing's main force members and more than 2,000 Zero Wing experts died in that battle. Meanwhile, Blackwater lost a little over 2,000 experts and 3,000 elites. In the end, as Blackwater had too many people, and since bounty hunters had begun to join the fight, Aqua Rose's legion was forced to retreat. Now, Zero Wing has limited its movement around the town. It seems Silverwing Town isn't hospitable anymore. Let's just try our luck in the Ore capital city. Hearing the players leisurely chat on the street, some of the nearby independent players couldn't help their deep sigh. Silverwing Town wasn't declining because its facilities had fallen behind the times, but because of Blackwater's ruthlessness. The guild gave independent players no hope of making a living in Silverwing Town. They're targeting the town's independent players now? Shafong was surprised as he overheard the conversations. Has Blackwater's leader in the Ore Empire been replaced? Guilds rarely involved independent players when they fought each other in God's domain. Not only was the act morally bankrupt, but it would also leave a bad impression of the guild. Most importantly, it would turn independent players against the guild. Yet, Blackwater ignored these consequences and attacked independent players. It had even gone as far as to charge protection fees. The vicious methods the guild employed wasn't typical of Blackwater's previous pattern. Previously, Blackwater had operated arrogantly. Although it had tried to use overwhelming power to force its opponents to submit, the guild had only pointed its blade at its enemies. The guild hadn't involved bystanders. However, Shafong didn't give the matter much thought as he made his way towards the new airport. Regardless of what Blackwater actions, there was one thing he could be sure of: the guild was his enemy. Although Blackwater's new tactics were unexpected, now that the airport was complete, he could begin to take action. Very quickly, Shafong arrived in the town's eastern outer area. Since this area didn't have any particularly important buildings, very few players normally visited this side of town. Since Silverwing Town had deteriorated, even fewer people wandered this way. However, the gigantic magic barrier that enveloped the airport was extremely eye-catching, so a few passing players had stopped to examine the massive barrier. Recently, over a dozen level 100 NPC guards had gathered at the mountain-like barrier's entrance, attracting even more attention. Lord Protector, I am the guard team's Knight Captain Fleiss. I will be responsible for guiding you once we're inside. Fleiss, a Tier 3 Knight Captain, respectfully introduced himself as Shafong arrived. I'll have to trouble you, then, Shafong said, nodding, as he followed Fleiss into the magic barrier. The moment he entered the magic barrier, a luxurious, spacious airport appeared before his eyes. Ice-cold, metallic airships, radiating a manufactured aura, filled the airport, which could practically rival the medium airports he remembered from his previous life. The only difference was the airport's size. It was just a little smaller. Lord Protector, this is a special model small airport. It has a total of 5 small docks and 1 medium dock. Each dock comes with its own airship. The airport's operation will require 150 people and 50 people to guard it. The 5 small airships will require 25 intermediate machinists to fly, and the medium airship will require 8 advanced machinists. Once the personnel has been assigned, the airport can open to the public, Fleiss explained as he guided Shafong through the airport. As you are a city protector, we can help recruit these people for you. However, you will have to pay a monthly employment fee of 4,000 gold. All right. Let's go with that. Shafong had, more or less, learned about airport's personnel requirements during his previous life. Finding the required staff to operate the airport was relatively easy, but finding the appropriate machinists wasn't. The machinist subclass was quite special and rare. It required one to have the engineer, forger, and magician subclasses. Ordinary players already had plenty of trouble developing one subclass, let alone 3. Moreover, one needed to know how to merge the 3 subclasses' techniques. It would take far more time to nurture a machinist than other subclasses, as well. With how suddenly he had acquired the airport, he hadn't prepared for this aspect. Naturally, the fact that the system was willing to handle this issue was a welcome reprieve. Following which, Shafong paid the 4,000 gold monthly employment fee. I have received the 4,000 gold. All staff members will arrive in 10 minutes. Once they do, we can open the airport to the public when you're ready. If there are no issues, I will take my leave, Fleiss said before turning to exit the airport. Following which, Shafong toured the airport to pass the time. 10 minutes flew by in the blink of an eye. System: do you wish to open the airport to the public? Chapter 1862, Situation Changes. Chapter 1862, Situation Changes. When the system alerted him of the notification, Shifeng, who stood on one of the flight platforms, noticed that NPCs had already begun their work in the airport. He then called up the airport system interface and chose to open the airport to the public. Immediately, the pitch-black barrier that enveloped the airport began to disintegrate. As it did, it revealed a colossal building, which was over 100 meters tall and as large as a stadium that could accommodate 50,000 people. 6 airships were suspended on their flight platforms, which were located on the airport's top floor. In the blink of an eye, the airport had become the most iconic building throughout Silverwing Town. Crap! Is that an airship? How is this possible? How does Silverwing Town have airships? I thought only NPCs could have them. What's going on? Zero Wing has constructed an airport in Silverwing Town? The airport's revelation shocked every player in Silverwing Town. It was difficult to ignore since the 6 airships were so eye-catching. The town's players would see these massive vessels by simply lifting their heads, especially the medium airship. It was nearly the same size as a large passenger plane in the real world. It looked like a flying battleship. As everyone discussed the airport, the sound of a system notification reached their ears. Or Empire Region System announcement: congratulations to Silverwing Town for being the first to construct an airport in the Or Empire. Rewarding Silverwing Town 30,000 popularity and 1 city passage order. The system announcement repeated 3 times, confirming players' suspicions. Are you kidding me? That's really an airport. Zero Wing actually built one. Now that Silverwing Town has an airport, doesn't that mean we won't have to run all the way to visit the town anymore? We just board an airship? That's exactly what it means. What other use would an airport have? I wonder which NPC city this airport is connected to. Silverwing Town's independent players couldn't help but cheer with joy. They might not know an airport's exact purpose, but they knew that it would make travel to Silverwing Town far easier and more convenient. Instead of running from their home countries to the Or Empire, they could simply board an airship to Silverwing Town. They were incredibly excited just thinking about it. Meanwhile, when they heard the system announcement, the players grinding in the Or Empire read it with glowing, excited expressions. They had long since learned to loathe running from place to place, especially when venturing into a dangerous, neutral map like the Or Empire. Now, however, they could just hitch a ride on an airship. This new convenience would allow them to travel between the Or Empire and their home countries frequently, saving on repair fees, particularly because the repair fees in the Or Empire were unusually high. Meanwhile, a large number of Dark players fought Zero Wing's members on a gravel hill not far from Silverwing Town. However, due to the unexpected system announcement, the battling Dark players froze in shock. Big Sis Aqua, our guild leader, is simply too awesome. He actually got his hands on an airport as well. Operating in the Or Empire will be much easier now. With the airport, players that had avoided the Or Empire due to the troublesome travel can take an airship straight to Silverwing Town. As more players visit, these Dark players will have a harder time near Silverwing Town. Moreover, with so many independent players, it'll be impossible for Blackwater to continue suppressing Silverwing Town, Turtledove exclaimed as she watched the Dark players slide to a halt. Since so many Dark players had gone overboard, even Zero Wing's main force members, such as herself, had been forced to take action. Not only were there so many of these Dark players, but there were also a few extremely powerful experts among them. They moved stealthily, as well, making them incredibly challenging to defeat. This had given their team a huge headache. However, with Silverwing Town's new airport, their problems could be easily solved. It wouldn't be long before the news of the airport reached the neighboring countries. The Dark players' momentum continued to increase because normal players had such difficulty visiting the Or Empire. In contrast, since the Or Empire was allied with the Dark forces, Dark players could teleport to the Or capital city directly. However, now that Silverwing Town had an airport, normal players could travel into the Or Empire with relative ease. To Dark players, this was definitely not good news. This would turn the tables on them in the Or Empire. Not only would this allow normal players to earn glory points by killing dark players in the Or Empire, but they could also acquire the dark players' weapons and equipment, killing two birds with one stone. Once the airport gained popularity and independent players flooded into the Empire, dark players would have an even worse time in the Or Empire than they did in human kingdoms and empires. Indeed. But we can't let down our guard. Blackwater and Beast Emperor are our main enemies. Based on the latest reports, Blackwater has dispatched its capable vice-guild leader, Xuanwu Kaisho, to lead the fight in the Empire. Xuanwu Chisha's actions thus far have been minor tricks to wear us down. If Xuanwu Kaisho takes this seriously, we'll definitely be in trouble. Aqua Rose nodded in agreement with Turtledove's estimation when she saw the dark players' panicked expressions, but she also offered her teammates a warning. Neither Blackwater nor Beast Emperor had taken any direct action yet. The two forces had been relying on others to do their dirty work, yet they'd forced Zero Wing into such a precarious position. Big Sis Aqua, the guild leader, has asked us to return. He says that he has something he wants to discuss with us, Flying Shadow said. I understand. Let's retreat, then, Aqua Rose said. With a last glance at the scattering dark players, she gave up the idea of chasing them down and led her team back to Silverwing Town. Now that the airport had been constructed, the dark players' days were numbered. Even if Zero Wing didn't try to exterminate these pests, these dark players wouldn't dare linger near Silverwing Town. Silverwing Town, Zero Wing's residence. Zero Wing's upper echelons, who had been grinding or fighting dark players near Silverwing Town, promptly gathered in the residence upon receiving Shifeng's call for a meeting. The spacious meeting room practically vibrated with activity as its occupants chatted about Silverwing Town's new airport. The more they talked about it, the more energetic they became. Their exhaustion after ceaselessly fighting had vanished. Guild leader, aside from Cola and the others that are leveling up on your orders, everyone has arrived, Aqua Rose reported to Shifeng, who remained silent in his seat. Good. Let's begin the meeting, then, Shifeng nodded. Following which, Aqua Rose stood from her seat with a light cough. Immediately, the meeting room fell silent as everyone turned toward the guild leader's throne, wondering about the purpose of today's meeting. I'm sure you all know about Silverwing Town's recent development. I believe that all of you have had your hands full with the fight against the dark players and Blackwater's members. You should have also noticed that we have been forced to shrink our territory around Silverwing Town, Shifeng said and gestured, calling up the Or Empire's regional map in the center of the meeting table. However, now that the airport is complete, I've decided to expand Zero Wing's activity in the Or Empire to increase our members' leveling speed and obtain more resources to strengthen the guild. When they heard Shifeng's intentions, everyone in the meeting room grew excited. They had waited a long time for this moment. Because of the Dark Players and Beast Emperor's evil beasts, they had been forced to reduce their territory and activity, but now that they had solved the problem of the Dark Players, this was a good opportunity to expand. Guild leader, how far are we planning on expanding our territory? Aqua Rose asked. We're going to take the Or Empire's entire southeastern region, Shifeng announced, gesturing at the southeast section of the map before him. Chapter 1863 Expansion Plan. Chapter 1863 Expansion Plan. After Shifeng was done speaking, the originally lively meeting room promptly fell silent. Everyone inside gaped in shock as they took in Shifeng's calm expression. It was as if he considered what he had just mentioned something trifling, something that could be accomplished easily. The Orc Empire was an extremely large map. Although it might not be comparable to an actual empire, it was at least 10 times larger than an ordinary neutral map. Even now, the territory they occupied in the Orc Empire covered only the vicinity of the primordial divine ruin in the outer area of the Orc Empire's eastern region. On the other hand, the Empire's entire southeastern region was more than 10 times larger than their current territory. Executing such a large-scale territorial expansion might be possible if their guild did not have any enemies in the Orc Empire, but they were currently at war with Blackwater. This meant that there would be territorial disputes over the scarce high-resource areas. In order to ensure that guild members would be able to develop themselves normally in these areas, they would have to increase the manpower allocation to these areas in order to ensure their advantage. However, their forces were already stretched thin, just defending their current territory. Spreading their forces further would allow Blackwater and Beast Emperor to deal them a severe blow. Nowadays, not only did Blackwater's members in the Orc Empire greatly outnumbered Zero Wings, but due to Blackwater's bounty system, there were also a large number of experts hunting Zero Wings members. Now, the only reason why they could afford an expansion was the solution of the Dark Player problem. Doing so guaranteed that guild members could grind efficiently and acquire all sorts of resources. However, attempting to expand their territory in the Orc Empire to more than 10 times its current size would simply be counterproductive. After all, Zero Wing did not have the strength or manpower to defend such a large area. Without sufficient manpower for surveillance and patrol squads, the guild's teams would very easily be surrounded and annihilated by Blackwater's and Beast Emperor's armies. In God's domain, guild teams caused quite a commotion when grinding or conducting large-scale quests, especially when operating in high-resource areas. Their movements were easily detectable. Hence, whenever guild teams were conducting an operation, they needed people constantly patrolling and monitoring the surroundings to prevent getting ambushed and surrounded by enemies. Moreover, even if they dealt with the manpower problem by moving more members from Star Moon Kingdom to the Orc Empire, the players tasked with surveillance and patrols needed to have sufficient strength. Otherwise, they would end up getting killed by some random party from the enemy. It might be fine if these players were killed once or twice, but if the frequency grew too high, these players would end up crippled. Not to mention, the players tasked with surveillance and patrol had to be capable of executing proper defenses and buying time. After all, compared to a large team of players, a small group of players would have an easier time escaping. Hence, players tasked with surveillance and patrol needed to be able to buy time for the larger team to retreat. Without sufficient strength, players simply wouldn't be up to such a task. Guild leader, although we can acquire more high-resource areas by expanding our territory and increase the guild's development speed, with our current strength, we simply can't afford to defend such a large area. This expansion will just end up backfiring on us and give Blackwater the opportunity to weaken our expert and elite players. Aqua Rose then added, "My suggestion is to occupy 2 or 3 high-resource areas first. If it's just that much, we'll have enough manpower and strength to defend these areas. Once we stabilize our strength, we can then proceed with occupying more high-resource areas." The crowd inside the room expressed their agreement after hearing Aqua Rose's suggestion. While expanding Zero Wings territory by more than 10 times would indeed increase the guild members' leveling speed significantly and rake in a lot of wealth, that was dependent on them being able to defend their territory. If their members were to get killed repeatedly by Blackwater's and Beast Emperor's forces, then the expansion would just do more harm than good to their guild. While it is indeed good to take things step by step, we simply do not have the time for that right now, Shifeng said, shaking his head. If we go by the current number of members we have in Silverwing Town, your suggestion is indeed excellent. However, I plan to transfer at least 150,000 members from Starmoon Kingdom once we're done with the expansion. If we occupy just 3 high-resource areas, there simply wouldn't be enough resources to go around. 150,000? Aqua Rose could not help but be shocked by Shifeng's words. Why are we suddenly transferring so many people over? Thus far, Zero Wing had only 120,000 members operating in Silverwing Town. Moreover, this number was a result of Silverwing Town recently becoming an intermediate town. If the number of guild members operating in Silverwing Town more than doubled, the current leveling resources available around Silverwing Town wouldn't be enough to allow them all to develop rapidly. Moreover, due to the appearance of the airport, the leveling resources available within the vicinity of Silverwing Town would soon face further pressure from the influx of independent players. Everyone else in the meeting room also gasped at Shifeng's statement. They simply could not understand what was going through Shifeng's mind. Their guild leader's plan was ludicrous. While increasing the number of guild members operating in the Orc Empire would bolster Silverwing Town's strength, at the end of the day, God's Domain was still a virtual reality game. In every virtual reality game, leveling resources were finite. Each leveling area had only so much resources available. Too many players sharing them would impact the leveling speed of these players. Although transferring so many guild members over would increase Zero Wings' momentum in the Orc Empire within a short period, as more time passed, Zero Wings members would fall behind Blackwater's members in terms of both levels and equipment. This was also the reason why the various superpowers did not concentrate all their members in a single location, despite having a huge advantage in strength and numbers. Even if a superpower were trying to target a power in a particular area, it would only dispatch a small number of expert and elite members. This way, not only would it increase the guild's overall strength in the area, but it also wouldn't affect the other guild members operating in the affected area. In the case of Blackwater, the reason why it could dispatch so many players into the Orc Empire without affecting its guild members' development was the Crimson Flame Fortress and the guild's cooperation with Beast Emperor. With these two factors, Blackwater was free to monopolize all kinds of resources in the Orc Empire. The current super guilds and super first-rate guilds definitely wouldn't be able to match Blackwater's feat. I believe you all know about the secret stone fortress that recently appeared in the Orc Empire, Shifeng said. It's the only NPC fortress in the Orc Empire operated by the human race. The fortress comes equipped with all kinds of facilities. At the same time, it is extremely close to the Orc Empire's inner area. One could say that it is a rest stop for players trying to move from the Orc Empire's outer area to the inner area. Moreover, it is also close to the inner area's Copper Mountain Fortress, which is extremely rich in resources. If we utilize the secret stone fortress's teleportation ability, we could teleport to the vicinity of the Copper Mountain Fortress. Due to this reason, many guilds have set their sights on the secret stone fortress already. They are thinking of ways to raise their status in the fortress so that they can garrison it and use it as a foundation to capture the Copper Mountain Fortress. After hearing Shifeng's sudden non sequitur, Aqua Rose gave a detailed introduction of the secret stone fortress. At this point in time, the secret stone fortress was already a competition ground for the various large guilds. Particularly, after witnessing the Crimson Flame Fortress's daily income, the various superpowers were extremely eager to control a fortress of their own. That's right. Originally, I wanted to keep this matter a secret. However, there is no longer a need to do so, Shifeng said, nodding. He then swept a glance at everyone present and added, through completing a quest, I have already acquired the rights to garrison the secret stone fortress. I believe you all should understand what this entails. Chapter 1864, Crazy Operation. Chapter 1864, Crazy Operation. The garrison rights to the secret stone fortress? What? With the rights to garrison the secret stone fortress, doesn't that mean our guild is now the fortress's manager? Upon hearing Shifeng's words, everyone immediately revealed surprised and excited expressions. The various large guilds were currently contesting crazily over the secret stone fortress. They were all looking for ways to become the fortress's manager, so that they could use it as a springboard to acquire the nearby resources, particularly those around the Copper Mountain Fortress. A fortress allowed players to gain control of an area much more easily than a town. This was because the fortresses in the Orc Empire allowed players to teleport to anywhere within their vicinity. In other words, a fortress's entire teleportation range was its defended territory, and guilds could send large numbers of reinforcements at any time. With this, enemy players would have difficulty mounting ambushes or encirclements. In addition, the secret stone fortress was partly managed by human NPCs, which made it the safest location in the entire Orc Empire. It was not a fortress that current players could threaten. Hence, becoming the manager of the secret stone fortress was equivalent to taking control of an impregnable fortress. Due to this reason, the various large guilds were doing everything they could to become the fortress's manager. Yet, now, Shifeng suddenly informed them that he had already acquired the garrison rights to the secret stone fortress. How could this revelation not surprise them? I understand. I'll head back to White River City immediately and start gathering the required manpower. Aqua Rose's eyes glowed brightly when she heard Shifeng's words. At this moment, she finally understood why Shifeng wanted to transfer an additional 150,000 guild members over to the Orc Empire. The acquisition of the secret stone fortress meant that Zero Wing's territory had grown to include all areas within the secret stone fortress's teleportation range. The current number of guild members they had in the Ore Empire was naturally insufficient to fully take advantage of all that territory. Moreover, with the increase of so many guild members in the Ore Empire, Zero Wing's strength in the Empire would also skyrocket. Hold on for a second. Wait till you're done listening to my plan, Shifeng said. He could not help but shake his head and laugh when he saw Aqua Rose's eagerness to occupy the secret stone fortress now. Having a large number of guild members garrison the secret stone fortress is only the first step. Our true goal is the Dark Witch's Tower, in the southeastern region of the Ore Empire. The Dark Witch's Tower was originally an abandoned tower. However, after the Dark Forces and the Ore Empire became allies, it became a temporary teleportation point for the Dark Forces. Due to the existence of this tower, Dark players have easy access to the Empire's southeastern region from the Ore capital city. Destroying this temporary teleportation point would not only hinder Dark players' operations in the Empire's southeastern region but also prevent them from cooperating with the Blackwater Guild in targeting us. Although everyone in the room agreed with Shifeng's sentiments, they still had to shake their heads in disapproval after giving the matter some thought. Guild leader, although the Dark Witch's Tower's defenses aren't comparable to a fortress's, it is still guarded by Dark NPCs. A large number of Dark players normally gather there as well. The various superpowers have also thought about destroying this gathering point before, but Beast Emperor simply isn't giving them any chances. He has dispatched a large number of evil beasts and evil demons to guard the place long term. Even if we double the forces we currently have in the Ore Empire, the likelihood of us succeeding in destroying that gathering point is very low. That's right. Moreover, if we execute such a large-scale operation, there's no way that Blackwater won't find out about it. At that time, Blackwater will no doubt dispatch its own army to launch a pincer attack on us. At this point in time, the Dark Witch's Tower had become a target of hatred of normal players operating in the Ore Empire's southeastern region. Many wished they could burn it to the ground. Unfortunately, their hatred was useless. Not only did Dark NPCs guard the Dark Witch's Tower, but there was also the presence of Beast Emperor's minions. Current players couldn't do anything about the place. If not for these reasons, the various superpowers would have long since eliminated the tower from God's domain and curbed the activity of Dark players in the Ore Empire. Relax. I've already thought about this point. When the time comes, Aqua, you'll lead an army of 100,000 players and 200 miniature ballistas to assault Beast Emperor's ancient rock city. If we do that, Beast Emperor will definitely gather his minions to defend the fortress, drawing down his forces at the Dark Witch's Tower. Not to mention, those Dark players will no doubt come seeking to take advantage of the siege battle, which will further reduce the number of players defending the tower. When the time comes, I'll personally lead a 1,000-man team and thoroughly destroy the Dark Witch's Tower, Shifeng said. Destroy the Dark Witch's Tower with just 1,000 players? Guild leader, isn't this too dangerous? After all is said and done, that place is a gathering point for the Dark Forces. No matter how deserted it becomes, there should still be around 2,000 or 3,000 players inside the town. Not to mention, there are also several hundred Dark NPCs there. Everyone in the room chimed in worriedly. A team of 1,000 is just right. Any more and our movements will be discovered very easily. Plus, even if our team of 1,000 is discovered, our enemies will just treat us as a team that's going out to grind or do a quest. They will never think that we are actually going to destroy the Dark Witch's Tower, Shifeng said, shaking his head. For the operation this time, the key point will be whether the main army will be able to lure away the evil beasts and evil demons. The more monsters lured away, the higher my side's chances of success. Guild leader, leave it to me. I'll definitely make our movements known. I'll let Beast Emperor and Blackwater think that we're going for a final stand. At that time, they'll surely spare no effort in trying to deal us a heavy blow, Aqua Rose said. Only, are you really fine with just 1,000 players? 1,000 is more than enough, Shifeng replied, chuckling. If nobody has any problems, we'll start the operation right away. With this battle, Zero Wing will claim the entire southeastern section of the Or Empire in one fell swoop. The 1,000-man team he planned on bringing with him to the Dark Witch's Tower wasn't actually meant for battle. The team would be there only to serve as support and scouts. The main actors in this operation would be the 6 Hell tanks he produced. Although 6 Hell tanks were still far from enough to siege a city, destroying a small gathering point for Dark players would not be a problem for them. Moreover, he also wished to take a good look at the power of the Hell tanks. Understood. Everyone felt their blood boil with excitement at Shifeng's words. Although they weren't sure whether Shifeng was actually capable of destroying the Dark Witch's Tower, they had been waiting a long time for such a large-scale war. The fights they fought before had been scuffles at best. They had also been suppressed by the Dark players and Blackwater's members all this time and had long since gotten fed up. Now that they had an opportunity to fight on a real battlefield, they more than welcomed it. Immediately, everyone took action according to Shifeng's arrangements. As for Melancholic Smile, she hurried back to Star Moon Kingdom and started gathering the guild's elite and normal members, readying them to head toward the secret stone fortress. For a time, the entire Zero Wing Guild was a beehive of activity. This situation befuddled the spies the various large guilds planted in Zero Wing. They all wondered what Zero Wing was trying to do this time. After getting a thorough understanding of the situation, they all involuntarily fell into a daze. What's going on? Zero Wing is actually planning on making a last stand against Beast Emperor and attack ancient Rock City? Is Zero Wing insane? It has just obtained an airport, and it is already trying to pick a fight with Beast Emperor? News of this situation quickly spread into the ears of the various major powers of Star Moon Kingdom and sent the kingdom's players into an uproar. As for Shifeng, he had arrived at the secret stone fortress by himself. Currently, although the secret stone fortress had yet to be fully opened to the public, players belonging to the various major powers had already gathered here. These players easily numbered more than 100,000. Including the independent players that had come here to rest, the fortress's total player population already exceeded 500,000. After taking a look at the general situation inside the fortress, Shifeng made his way to the fortress's administration building. Lord Claude, I have already collected the 60,000 gold according to our agreement. Once Shifeng met up with Claude, he handed over 60,000 gold to the NPC. Excellent. This is indeed 60,000 gold. With this, we'll finally have enough funds to reconstruct the secret stone fortress, Claude said, smiling as he looked at the bag of coins in his hand. He then took out a golden token and said, "Here is the secret stone fortress's token. From now onward, you are the secret stone fortress's advanced manager. I hope you can contribute more towards the fortress's development in the future." Chapter 1865, Garrisoning the Fortress. Chapter 1865, Garrisoning the Fortress. After Shifeng received the golden token, he could not help but breathe out a sigh of relief. During this period, due to the decrease in Silverwing Town's population, the town's income had declined considerably. Fortunately, thanks to the rare materials acquired from the Ice Crystal world and the continuous growth of Zero Wing City's popularity, he had just barely managed to earn the 60,000 gold required. Now that he had become the secret stone fortress's advanced manager, he could officially allow Zero Wing to garrison the fortress. Although doing so would incite the jealousy of the various superpowers, so long as the next step of his plan succeeded and Zero Wing displayed sufficient strength in the Orc Empire, these superpowers would think twice about attacking Zero Wing. Following which, Shifeng made his way to the administration building's office hall. Currently, over 1,000 players were seated inside the office hall, every one of whom was level 55 or above. They were also fully equipped in level 50 secret silver equipment, with some powerful ones even sporting several pieces of level 50 fine gold equipment. Aside from being high-leveled and well-equipped, these players also shared another similarity: they were all guild players. Currently, these guild players were grouped in parties as they waited for their turn to meet with the NPCs at the front desks. The queue is moving so slowly. Hopefully, the leader will pick up a good quest. The previous quest we got was simply fraudulent. It actually required us to collect 500 orc weapons yet gave only 3 guild contribution points in return. There weren't even any additional rewards. You guys got it a lot better. Our quest was the real fraudulent one. We were actually required to steal 3 medium rapid-fire ballistas from an orc fortress. The designated orc fortress was chock-a-block with orcs at the chieftain rank and above. Even level 60+ Great Lord ranked orcs were present in large numbers. Our party got wiped out twice doing this quest. If not for our party's healer having the intermediate resurrection skill, which reduced the death penalty we suffered, every member in our party would have lost 2 levels already. The various guild parties in the hall were all grumbling about the contribution quests given out by the secret stone fortress. Not only was the difficulty of these quests extremely high, but the rewards given were not particularly good, either. However, they also couldn't refuse to do the quests. Otherwise, their guilds wouldn't be able to gain the garrison rights to the secret stone fortress. Just as the various parties were conversing with each other, Shifeng, who was wearing a black cloak, arrived at the exchange counter a short distance away from the quest counters. His presence soon attracted the attention of the players inside the hall. Crap, who is that person? Is he actually using his contribution points to exchange for items? Impossible. Just activating the exchange counter function requires an individual to have 200 CPS and be an honorary warrior of the secret stone fortress. After my party did a high-ranking quest, each member only got between 5 to 10 CPS, and that quest took my party over 5 hours to complete. Even if that guy doesn't sleep and does quests one after another, there's no way he would have 200 CPS right now. He should be asking about the available items for exchange. Currently, the secret stone fortress had been opened for only 4 days. Gaining access to the fortress's exchange function was simply impossible at the moment. Meanwhile, just as everyone was having such thoughts, the NPC Beauty, who wore an indifferent and aloof expression on her face, suddenly smiled and bowed respectfully after seeing Shifeng. Lord Protector, how may I be of service to you today? The NPC Beauty asked respectfully. I wish to accomplish the guild garrisoning procedures, Shifeng replied, nodding. Upon hearing Shifeng's request, the NPC Beauty immediately took out a form and explained, all right. Please fill up this form. Afterward, you will have to pay a 500 gold security deposit. Once that is done, your guild will be officially recognized by the secret stone fortress. Here is 500 gold, Shifeng said, handing over the money, before he started filling up the form before him. Meanwhile, the NPC Beauty's actions immediately had the guild players inside the hall gaping in shock. Who is he? Why is the NPC being so respectful toward him? That guy is carrying out the guild garrisoning procedures? How is that possible? Didn't they say that the exchange function is only available after an individual has accumulated 200 CPS? How can he complete the guild garrisoning procedures already? For a time, the members of the various large guilds failed to react to what was going on. When Shifeng was done filling up the form and the NPC Beauty confirmed that Zero Wing had become a guild recognized by the secret stone fortress, the sound of a system announcement suddenly entered everyone's ears. Orc Empire Region System Announcement. Congratulations to Zero Wing for becoming the first guild to garrison the secret stone fortress. Rewarding 500 secret stone fortress guild contribution points and the rights to rent a large residence in the secret stone fortress. The system announcement repeated 3 times. Only after the system's voice faded away did the various guild players inside the office hall snap out of their daze. Zero Wing? Damn it. How did Zero Wing acquire the garrison rights so quickly? There must be a secret to this. We need to report to our superiors immediately. At this moment, the eyes of the various guild players present had already turned bloodshot. The large guilds had long since made the secret stone fortress a priority. In order to secure the garrison rights to the fortress, their guilds had invested a ridiculous amount of manpower. However, even now, their guilds still had little to show for their efforts. Nevertheless, Zero Wing acquired not only the garrison rights but even a large residence. This benefit would provide significant help to a guild in competing for the Orc Empire's resources. Very quickly, news of this matter entered the ears of the various superpowers' upper echelons. Isn't Zero Wing just an up-and-coming guild? Now, it has not only an airport but also the garrison rights to the secret stone fortress. Not bad. If our guild can obtain these things, we'll be able to monopolize at least half of the Orc Empire's bountiful resources. Have someone contact Zero Wing and tell them that King's Return is willing to invest in Zero Wing and let it become a subordinate guild of King's Return. Good. Very good. Zero Wing's development speed is truly surprising. It's no wonder Blackwater is constantly trying to devour it and has gone as far as to send that woman over. Immediately have someone contact Zero Wing and tell it that the Crimson Emperor is willing to deal with Blackwater together with it and help it protect the resources it has. In return, however, Zero Wing has to become Crimson Emperor's subordinate guild. Upon receiving this piece of news, the various superpowers all started taking action. Previously, they could ignore the existence of Zero Wing, as the guild still couldn't threaten their interests. However, the secret stone fortress was a strategic location that involved a significant portion of the resources available in the entire Orc Empire. This was not a realm that Zero Wing should be allowed to touch. Shortly after the system announcement, Aqua Rose, who was currently in Starmoon Kingdom arranging for the transfer of members to the Orc Empire, received invitations for a meeting from various superpowers, as many as 7 at this point, which made her scalp tingle. Just dealing with Blackwater, a large guild with a powerful background, was already enough to put Zero Wing in a precarious situation. If Zero Wing were to provoke all these superpowers now, the consequences would be unimaginable. Finding herself at a loss as to what to do, Aqua Rose immediately contacted Shifeng and asked, "Guild leader, more and more superpowers have sent representatives to meet with me. Do I accept their invitations?" Even if the representatives of the various superpowers did not state their intentions, she could already guess the purpose of these meetings. Back when Zero Wing was still operating solely in Starmoon Kingdom, it could afford to provoke these superpowers, as it had the home ground advantage. At worst, the superpowers would only feel slighted by Zero Wing's rejection. They wouldn't take any real action against Zero Wing. After all, they had more important matters to deal with. They simply didn't have enough time and manpower to do something unprofitable. However, the situation was different now. The Orc Empire was the competition ground for the various superpowers. Meanwhile, the matter regarding the secret stone fortress involved the future of the entire Orc Empire. Hence, these superpowers would not take Zero Wing's refusal lightly. If the various superpowers got serious, they were very likely to destroy Zero Wing. After all, if they could not acquire the secret stone fortress, then they wouldn't allow others to acquire it, either, much less leave Zero Wing to monopolize it. Chapter 1866, Stepping Stone. Chapter 1866, Stepping Stone. They sure moved fast, Shifeng said, chuckling when he saw the anguished expression on Aqua Rose's face. He had long since anticipated that the various superpowers would make such a move. Previously, Zero Wing had already incurred the envy of the various superpowers over Silverwing Town. However, as Silverwing Town couldn't affect the overall situation at the Orc Empire and Zero Wing's territory there was still relatively small, the various superpowers weren't that concerned about Zero Wing. The secret stone fortress, though, was different. Every location within the teleportation range of the secret stone fortress could be considered the fortress's territory. Not to mention, the secret stone fortress was the safest fortress for human players in the entire Orc Empire. The fortress was also relatively close to the Copper Mountain Fortress, presenting a stepping stone for the capture of the Copper Mountain Fortress. One fortress already provided an extensive territory. One could easily imagine what kind of temptations two fortresses held. In particular, seeing Blackwater occupy the Crimson Flame Fortress made the various superpowers even more anxious to obtain a fortress of their own. Now that Zero Wing had acquired the garrison rights to the secret stone fortress, it would be strange for the various superpowers not to take action. "Guild leader, you still have the leisure to laugh," Aqua Rose exclaimed, thunderstruck. "If we meet them now and refuse to cooperate with them, it would be tantamount to declaring ourselves their enemy. So, it's best not to meet them for now," Shifeng said. "But if we don't meet with them, I'm afraid the end result would still be the same." Aqua Rose felt that Shifeng's proposal wasn't a good idea, either. In fact, maintaining their silence would most likely annoy the various superpowers even more. That's why I said that we won't be meeting them for now, Shifeng pointed out, chuckling. How are things coming along on your side? I'm almost ready. I'll be able to have our members transfer over in half an hour or so, Aqua Rose said. Another half hour? After giving the matter some thought, Shifeng said, that's too long. For now, you should return to Silverwing Town and leave the transfer for Snow to handle. Once you're back, immediately gather an army and head for Ancient Rock City. So soon? Aqua Rose asked in surprise. With the superpowers already getting antsy, we naturally need to hasten our movements, Shifeng explained. Moreover, if we drag things on for too long, Blackwater and Beast Emperor might alter their plans to deal with us. If that happens, our assault might not go so smoothly. I understand. I'll gather the army right away, Aqua Rose said, nodding. She promptly dropped her current task and proceeded according to Shifeng's demands. As for Shifeng himself, he returned to White River City's candlelight trading firm. The Hell tanks were too large, and transporting them would not be an easy task. Moreover, Shifeng didn't want too many people to know what he was up to. Hence, he decided to transfer the tanks one by one, all by himself. Fortunately, it would take Aqua Rose quite some time to gather an army of 100,000 players at such short notice. After Aqua Rose returned to Silverwing Town, the first thing she did was release a guild announcement stating that she was seeking to gather 100,000 members over at Silverwing Town to execute a siege against Ancient Rock City. Meanwhile, participating members had to be an elite member or above and at least level 50. Shortly after the announcement went public, it sent a commotion throughout Zero Wing. What's going on? Are we going to make a final stand against Beast Emperor? That's Ancient Rock City we're talking about. I recall there being over 1 million evil beasts inside the city. There are even Tier 4 NPCs and a large number of mythic evil demons and evil beasts. We won't even be enough to serve as appetizers if we try to attack all those monsters. Didn't you read the announcement properly? We won't be just 100,000 players. We're also bringing 200 miniature ballistas. Those are war weapons. Even those evil beasts and evil demons won't survive against them for very long. Moreover, since the guild has decided to attack Ancient Rock City, it definitely has other trump cards in store. Ha ha ha. This is wonderful. During the last major war, I was only a normal member of the guild. Now, I'm finally qualified to participate in a war. Zero Wing's members had an intense debate over this sudden decision to attack Ancient Rock City. This was especially true for the guild members that frequently operated within the Or Empire. Thus far, they have been constantly suppressed by Beast Emperor's evil beasts and evil demons. Now that a good opportunity to vent their pent-up frustration was before them, they were naturally eager to jump at the chance. Meanwhile, word of Zero Wing's large-scale operation naturally entered the ears of the various major powers almost as soon as it was announced. Interesting. Zero Wing has just acquired the garrison rights to the secret stone fortress, and it is already planning to assault Beast Emperor's Ancient Rock City. How rich! Zero Wing is actually mobilizing 200 miniature ballistas in addition to an army of 100,000 elites. Is Zero Wing trying to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate its strength and solidify its position in the Or Empire? Does Zero Wing want to prove itself to be qualified for the secret stone fortress's garrison rights? The various major powers easily discerned Zero Wing's motives for besieging Ancient Rock City this time, especially the superpowers who were trying to recruit Zero Wing. Guild leader, Zero Wing is showing our king's return no respect. Should we take action immediately? Hellfiend asked, a sneer on his face as he looked at the white-clad, middle-aged man on the screen before him. He never held any goodwill for Zero Wing. If not for his guild leader ordering him to come to negotiate personally with Zero Wing, he would have liked nothing better than to annihilate the upstart guild. Let's wait for a bit. I'm interested to see just how much strength Zero Wing has to actually think that it can defend the secret stone fortress, the middle-aged man replied, smiling as he took a look at the report he just received. Understood. At his guild leader's words, Hellfiend had no choice but to suppress the rage in his heart and wait quietly in White River City. TMPH, I'll let you remain arrogant for now, Zero Wing. Once you lose to Beast Emperor Dash. Many superpowers desired the ancient rock city that Beast Emperor occupied. However, even until now, not a single superpower had managed to do anything to the city. Needless to say, the likelihood of Zero Wing successfully capturing ancient rock city was even lower. Like King's return, the other superpowers also chose to wait and see in regard to Zero Wing's sudden movement this time. They intended to look at the outcome of this impending battle before deciding. A defeat in this battle would force Zero Wing to acknowledge its inadequacy. If that happened, negotiations would go much more smoothly afterward. Zero Wing really is overestimating itself. Nine Dragons Emperor, who was currently in the Black Dragon Empire, could not help but laugh when he received news about Zero Wing's intentions. Originally, I was planning on advising the Great Pavilion Master to hinder Phoenix Rain from providing aid to Zero Wing. Now, it would seem that I won't need to waste the effort. However, I also have to admit that Black Flame is very smart. Had he asked Phoenix Rain to help him and the Great Pavilion Master actually agreed to it, I would have had an excuse to send people over to manage both the secret Stone Fortress and Silverwing Town. Pavilion Master, what should we do now? Martial Dragon asked. The struggle for the position of Great Pavilion Master has already entered a crucial period. Absolutely nothing must go wrong. Bring a legion of experts over to Ancient Rock City right away. Once Zero Wing's members start escaping, cooperate with Beast Emperor to slaughter Zero Wing's members. It's fine even if you can't wipe them out completely. Just make sure to deal enough damage so that Zero Wing's development stagnates, to prevent Zero Wing from helping Phoenix Rain, Nine Dragons Emperor said. Once I'm done dealing with Phoenix Rain, it'll be Zero Wing's turn to die. In response, Martial Dragon nodded and took his leave. Meanwhile, inside the Evil God's Branch Temple in Ancient Rock City. Good. Very good. You want to use me as a stepping stone to raise your position in the Ore Empire. Beast Emperor flared up in rage after finding out about Zero Wing's actions. Since you are so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Immediately notify all apostles and have them transfer their evil beasts and evil demons over. If Zero Wing's members dare come to Ancient Rock City, I'll make sure none of them leave this place alive. At this moment, even a fool could tell what Zero Wing's goal was. Just as Beast Emperor and his allies were making their move, Aqua Rose finally finished organizing an army of 100,000 players. Guild leader, just like you guessed, Beast Emperor has already recalled the evil beasts and evil demons to Ancient Rock City. By the looks of it, he plans on smiting us, Aqua Rose said, smiling. Good. Let's begin our operation, Chiffon commanded, nodding. Chapter 1867, Battle at Ancient Rock City. Chapter 1867, Battle at Ancient Rock City. On Chiffon's command, Aqua Rose gathered the army of 100,000 elite and expert players in Silverwing Town, boldly advancing on Ancient Rock City. A total of 100,000 Zero Wing members atop majestic Thunder Wolves exited Silverwing Town. Some of these Thunder Wolves had even been promoted to bronze rank, and not only were they much larger than their ordinary counterparts, but faint arcs of blue electricity also danced along their bodies. In comparison, ordinary Thunder Wolves only gave off electricity from their paws. There were over 5,000 of these bronze-ranked Thunder Wolves, which were also players' companions in battle, wielding skills that could assist their masters. Seeing these Thunder Wolves greatly shocked the players in Silverwing Town. Amazing. Why do these mounts feel even stronger than ordinary players? Crap. My guild has only just built its stable and is preparing to nurture a guild mount, yet so many of Zero Wing's members have already nurtured their guild mounts to bronze rank. Although I have heard that Zero Wing's members are well equipped, isn't this a little much? Those are 100,000 players we are talking about, yet every single one is wearing at least one or two pieces of level 50 secret silver equipment. These players can rank among the top of my guild's elite member. Look at the experts wearing the core member emblem. Their weakest piece of equipment is level 50 secret silver rank. They even have several pieces of level 50 fine gold equipment. Although my guild has a lot of experts, those experts have only managed to collect 4 or 5 pieces of level 50 secret silver equipment so far. Zero Wing is cheating. The players in Silverwing Town, in particular, knew that Zero Wing could nearly rival first-rate guilds and had a very large number of experts. However, when they saw Zero Wing's organized and powerful army, they re-evaluated their opinions of the guild. No first-rate guild could hope to amass such an army. As they watched Zero Wing's players march by, many of the guild experts in the town even considered leaving their guilds to join Zero Wing. They had worked arduously in their respective guilds, raiding dungeons and questing every day, but they had only gotten their hands on a few pieces of level 50 secret silver equipment. In contrast, even Zero Wing's elite members possessed 1 or 2 pieces of level 50 secret silver equipment, with the more powerful elite members wearing 5 or 6 pieces. However, the most enviable part about Zero Wing's members had to be the Thunder Wolf. Previously, when the various large guilds had yet to acquire a stable of their own, they hadn't understood how valuable the Thunder Wolf was. However, now that some large guilds had their own stable and had begun to nurture their own guild mounts, they finally understood. The majority of the large guilds that acquired a stable were fortunate if they acquired a 3-star mount. However, a 3-star mount had less than a 30% chance of becoming. As for a 4-star mount, encountering one was simply too difficult. Moreover, even if they managed to find one, they wouldn't be able to capture it. Meanwhile, as the Thunder Wolf was a 5-star mount, it had the potential of becoming a mysterious iron mount in the future. There was even a small chance that it could grow into a secret silver mount if nurtured properly. As Zero Wing's army depart for ancient Rock City, many players curiously followed. Not many players had witnessed a battle of tens of thousands of players, let alone a siege war of this scale. They would definitely regret missing out on this rare opportunity. Because of this, many players from neighboring kingdoms, who had learned about the upcoming battle and were confident of their strength, decided to trail after Zero Wing's army. In the face of Zero Wing's army, the various ores and monsters on the path to ancient Rock City were little more than momentary distractions. Even when level 65 Grand Lords appeared, the fierce attacks of several dozen miniature ballistas easily shot them down. When the Dark players, who had intended to take advantage of the situation and assault Zero Wing's members, saw this, their mouths twitched. They then abandoned any thought of ambushing Zero Wing's army. Such power could easily annihilate an army of 10,000 players. Not even expert players would escape 200 miniature ballistas. After all, while a Tier 2 expert might be able to dodge one miniature ballista's attack, dodging 200 simultaneous AoEs would be utterly impossible. Even a Tier 3 expert would most likely fall in the face of such a large-scale attack. As Zero Wing's army arrived at the foot of ancient Rock City, the tension among the spectating players reached its peak. Some spectating players had even started to tremble. The scene before them was simply too spectacular. Zero Wing's 100,000 mounted players had stopped a short distance away from ancient Rock City, and the 200 miniature ballistas the army had brought were sparsely lined up in 2 neat rows, surrounding ancient Rock City's small hill. However, ancient Rock City wouldn't just lie down before this force, with its troops' disposition even stronger than Zero Wing's. At a glance, one could easily spot over 300,000 evil beasts and evil demons waiting outside the city walls, ready for battle. Even the weakest among these monsters was a level 60 special elite, and 5, 50-meter-tall, level 80 mythic evil beasts stood at the forefront to current players. This army was invincible. Upon seeing this army of monsters, the players observing the battlefield from several thousand yards away with magic mirrors could not help but shudder. Wiping out a guild town would be child's play for this frightening army. If Beast Emperor wanted to, he could easily drag them into this fight. Zero Wing, do you think that just because I exhausted a large portion of my forces at Crimson Flame Fortress, you will have an opportunity to strike? Beast Emperor sneered at the distant Zero Wing army from atop the city walls. Unfortunately, 100,000 players aren't even enough to serve as a warm-up. Previously, to assist Blackwater, he had exhausted a lot of his forces. During the battle to acquire the Crimson Flame Fortress, he had lost a total of 6 mythic evil beasts and mythic evil demons. The number of Grand Lords and Great Lords he lost was also massive. Even so, he still had 7 mythic monsters under his control, 5 of which were evil beasts, and 2 were evil demons. For this upcoming battle, he intended to use the 5 mythic evil beasts as the main force, while reserving the 2 mythic evil demons as a trump card. Although his current army was far from ideal, it was more than enough to stop Zero Wing's army. In reality, he wished that he could avoid pitting his army against Zero Wing's, utilizing his defender's advantage to whittle the enemy forces down. However, as he was responsible for summoning the evil god's branch temple in Ancient Rock City, he was responsible for protecting Ancient Rock City. He could not allow any damage to come to the city. If the city were damaged, not only would he have to spend his own money to repair it, but he would also lose evil god's temple contribution points. Boss, Blackwater's members are in position. Blackwater has dispatched 3,000 experts and 20,000 elites. In addition, Nine Dragons Emperor has dispatched a 1,000-man expert legion. Roughly 7,000 dark players are also participating in this battle. Once we crush Zero Wing's formation, these players will eliminate Zero Wing's members, Windhunter reported. A bunch of scavengers. But so be it in any case, we just need the corpses. It doesn't matter who dies in the end, Beast Emperor said, sneering. Boss, I also received a report stating that a 1,000-man team from Zero Wing has left Silverwing Town and is heading toward the Dark Witch's Tower. I'm not sure what that team is trying to do, but the members are all considerably well equipped, Windhunter said. The Dark Witch's Tower? Isn't that a teleportation point for the Dark players? Why is Zero Wing sending people there? Beast Emperor was confused. Could they be trying to attack the Dark Witch's Tower while they attack Ancient Rock City? That shouldn't be the case. That's the Dark Witch's Tower we're talking about. Not only is it guarded by several hundred Dark NPCs, but there are also 3,000 to 4,000 Dark players there on a regular basis, Windhunter said in surprise. Even if it's true, it doesn't matter. Zero Wing is doomed regardless of what it does, Beast Emperor said, narrowing his eyes. I recall that Dust Edge is questing in that area. Tell him to head to the tower just in case. Think of it as a chance to collect materials to strengthen the evil dragons. Send Dust. Isn't that overkill? Windhunter gaped. Dust Edge was the strongest evil god's apostle under Beast Emperor's command right now. He had acquired one of the evil god's temple's 9 great legacies. Currently, he was only a step away from becoming an evil god's envoy like Beast Emperor. He was the Beast Emperor's greatest trump card. It doesn't matter. Now that we've acquired the Crimson Flame Fortress, we'll have plenty of resources coming our way. There's no longer a need to keep him a secret, Beast Emperor said, waving his hand. He then had Windhunter notify Dust Edge of his orders. After Beast Emperor issued his commands, 3 massive, golden magic arrays appeared above Zero Wing's army. These 3 magic arrays were none other than the result of the Divine Beast's Descent magic arrays, which Shifeng had used the guild's accumulated resources to produce. Moreover, all 3 of these magic arrays were powered by elemental sources. In the next moment, 3 golden dragons descended from the sky with deafening roars that echoed throughout Ancient Rock City's area. Go! Destroy Ancient Rock City's defensive magic array. Aqua Rose, who stood on a hill a short distance away from the city, said as she pointed her staff at Ancient Rock City. Immediately, all 3 divine magic dragons charged toward Ancient Rock City. Chapter 1868, Barrier Destroyed. Chapter 1868, Barrier Destroyed. When they saw the 3 divine magic dragons, the rowdy evil beasts and demons fell silent. Each of the divine magic dragons had a wingspan of 600 meters. Just a flap of their wings would be more than enough to kill hundreds of players. Even the spectating crowd could feel their auras from several thousand yards away. The ambient mana on the battlefield also gathered to the divine magic dragons, and just a flap of their wings caused powerful storms to brew. Pitch-black spatial tears appeared as their wings passed. Even many of Zero Wing's members were shocked to see the divine magic dragons. Although most of the Zero Wing members had seen the battle videos depicting these dragons, they had never seen one up close. The combined pressure 3 divine magic dragons exuded was so powerful that even Tier 2 experts felt their bodies grow heavy and their chests constrict, not to mention Tier 1 players. The divine magic dragons are so powerful. Is this the power of a dragon? I knew our guild must have had a trump card. 1 divine magic dragon was already enough to suppress 3 mythic evil beasts. Now that we have 3 divine magic dragons, I can't wait to see how Beast Emperor and his minions stand against us. Many of Zero Wings members had still been afraid of the evil beast and demon army before them. After all, there were 5 level 80 mythic evil beasts standing between their army and ancient Rock City. Even if they had 200 miniature ballistas on their side, they would still pay a horrific price to get through these monsters. However, now that they had 3 divine magic dragons on their side, the battle had turned in their favor. While everyone struggled with their shock, under Aqua Rose's command, the 3 divine magic dragons flapped their wings and flew toward ancient Rock City. Although the 5 evil earth dragons tried to stop the divine magic dragons, the divine magic dragons were too fast. Under Shadow Sword, Flying Shadow, and Minor Wind's control, the 3 divine magic dragons easily avoided the mythic evil beast's attacks and sent their glowing, dark purple claws smashing into ancient Rock City's defensive magic array. Boom! 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 The 3 divine magic dragons' claws struck the defensive magic array simultaneously, the force behind their powerful attacks instantly creating 3 intense storms that spread around them. Meanwhile, the magic barrier protecting ancient Rock City shook violently, dimming considerably. Seeing this, Beast Emperor's expression darkened. The various major powers' upper echelons, who watched via magic mirrors, were astonished. What a powerful attack! When the various superpowers had assaulted ancient Rock City, that barrier hadn't even faltered under a Tier 4 attack, yet it's trembling after those divine magic dragons struck it. It seems the dragon's damage exceeds the barrier's threshold. At this rate, it will take no time at all to deplete the magic array's energy reserves. 3 divine magic dragons? I hadn't thought that Zero Wing still had such a trump card. It's no wonder why it dares provoke Beast Emperor. It seems Zero Wing really is confident of striking down ancient Rock City. The various upper echelons were similarly shocked by the 3 divine magic dragons' power. However, while they were shocked, they weren't particularly afraid. After all, tools that could summon such powerful monsters certainly weren't indefinite. It simply wasn't a permanent source of strength. Damn it! Just 1 attack from those dragons depleted nearly 6% of the magic array's energy reserve. We can't let those dragons continue to attack the barrier. Activate the Evil God's Temple's offensive magic array and annihilate these dragons, Beast Emperor hurriedly commanded when he saw the defensive magic array's energy reserves. Boss, it'll cost us 3000 CPS to activate the offensive magic array once. Are you sure you want to use it? Wind Hunter hesitantly asked. Evil God's Temple contribution points were extremely difficult to acquire. These points could not be acquired just by completing quests. They also needed to trade a large amount of resources for these points. Although they had acquired a lot of resources from Blackwater to capture the Crimson Flame Fortress, they had expended a considerable amount. Now, they had less than 8000 CPS available. Do it. I don't want to see the defensive magic array destroyed, Beast Emperor growled as the divine magic dragons launched their second wave of attacks. If the defensive magic array fell, anybody could enter ancient Rock City. If the divine magic dragons entered the city, they would wreak unimaginable destruction. As Beast Emperor finished speaking, the defensive magic array lost another 6% of its energy. Seeing this, Wind Hunter bit his tongue. Hurriedly, he activated the Evil God's Temple's offensive magic array. Suddenly, a gigantic, dark grey magic array formed above the Evil God's branch temple, located in the center of ancient Rock City. The magic array enveloped the City Lord's mansion. Even Zero Wings members, who stood several thousand yards away, noticed this sudden development. Due to the appearance of this magic array, the mana inside and around ancient Rock City was obliterated. Now, there was not a single trace of mana in the area. Die. After activating the offensive magic array, Wind Hunter aimed and fired at the 3 divine magic dragons. He instantly lost 3,000 evil gods' temple contribution points. Meanwhile, several hundred dark grey longswords shot out of the dark grey magic array, reaching the divine magic dragons in the blink of an eye. However, to Flying Shadow and the others, who controlled the divine magic dragons, the attack wasn't fast enough to be unstoppable. Immediately, the trio controlled the divine magic dragons to swipe at the approaching swords. Boom! 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 The instant the divine magic dragon's claws met the longswords, however, Flying Shadow and the others felt their arms numb. Several dozen long swords then sliced into them. Suddenly, one deafening explosion after another rang out above ancient Rock City, radiating shockwaves that even made the city's defensive magic array tremble. Following which, the three divine magic dragons crashed to the ground, creating 3 deep craters where they fell. Some low-ranking evil beasts and evil demons even died as they were crushed. After a few moments, the 3 divine magic dragons stood back up. Now, however, wounds covered their bodies, and many of their tough dragon scales had been shattered. Their wings had also been destroyed, preventing flight. Even more frightening was the fact that these dragons couldn't regenerate the damage the dark grey swords had caused. Everyone gasped when they saw the horrific attack. What a powerful move! The various major powers were dazed for a long moment. They had witnessed the power of the divine magic dragons, so they knew just how powerful these summoned creatures were, yet Beast Emperor had injured them heavily with a single move. Beast Emperor's foundations clearly exceeded their estimations. After such a devastating blow, it was almost impossible for Zero Wing to capture ancient Rock City. The evil beast army had surrounded the divine magic dragons soon after they had fallen, and Zero Wing's summoned creatures were embroiled in a heated battle. They couldn't even reach ancient Rock City. With only the miniature ballistas and its players' attacks, Zero Wing would need hours of non-stop combat to destroy the city's barrier. Big Sis Aqua, I'm struggling to control my divine magic dragon. Even fighting the mythic evil beasts is taxing. I can't approach ancient Rock City's defensive magic array at all. What should we do? Flying Shadow, who currently controlled a divine magic dragon, reported. It felt as if he were trying to control a broken machine. Not only were the divine magic dragon's reactions delayed, but the dragon's strength had also fallen. Sure enough, trying to strike down ancient Rock City won't be easy. Aqua Rose could not help but sigh. Since that is the case, let's go all out. The 3 of you, use the divine magic dragon's final power. Understood. Flying Shadow, Shadow Sword, and Minor Wind nodded to Aqua Rose's command. In the next moment, the 3 divine magic dragons released furious roars, the resulting shockwaves shoving back the great lord-ranked evil beasts. Suddenly, the divine magic dragons spread their jaws as a 3-fold magic array manifested before them. The 3 dragons then fired 3 black-white breath attacks at ancient Rock City's defensive magic array. This move was the strongest these divine magic dragons possessed. Tier 4 Curse, Shadowlight Breath. In the blink of an eye, all 3 breath attacks plowed into the barrier around ancient Rock City. After persisting for 2 seconds, the indestructible magic barrier shattered, transforming into countless particles of light before it disappeared. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.